Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we will begin with the pledge. And with that, as usual, we'll go to the superintendent's report.
Good evening, members of the board, to our community. Welcome back from fall break, and welcome to our first ever board meeting at 6:30. Yes. This past Sunday, we tragically lost one of our young employees, Kayvon McClung, to gun violence. Kayvon was a recent Warren graduate and a valued member of our transportation department. Please join me in keeping Kayvon and his family in our hearts and prayers as we take a moment of silence in his memory. Related, tonight from 6 to 8 p.m., so that's taking place right now at P30 at 30th and Post, City Councilor Renee Allen is hosting a Reimagining Public Safety Community Forum titled Building the System Our Community Deserves. David Mohammed, the Executive Director of the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform, and our Warren Police Chief, James Northington, are expert panelists addressing data, prevention, and intervention to the gun violence crisis that we're dealing with. Councilor Allen has expressed interest in working closely with Warren on this issue. And you'll hear more about our safety fair coming up that's related to the issues that we're dealing with. I want to thank Indy Black Expo, our Warren Central team, who many of them are here tonight, for hosting the Mental Health Symposium in September. I know I was impacted personally by Dr. Russell Leday's comments. Dr. Leday is a MD and PhD and is also working on his third doctoral degree. He was one of the panelists, and he shared lots of lived experiences, advice for kids, but his most important advice was for us adults. He told us to shut up and start listening. And, really that's how he said it. He's like, our young kids will tell us things if we stop and take the time to listen to them. So that was great advice. We're continuing to share our strategic plan presentations. Community, we left several of our strategic plans on the table as you walk in, so I would encourage you to take one of those with you. We wrap up the high school on November 4th. Thanks to Dennis Jarrett, who is our chief editor for the Indy Far East magazine. We asked that the magazine be released on board days, so if you didn't pick up a copy of it, please do. The front cover spotlights Butler University's new Founders College program, which is a new 2-year associate degree program for students. They've identified and removed typical barriers to higher education, including tuition, books, supplies, and transportation. This first year, Warren has over 30 students participating in this program, the most of any local high school. This month's issue also highlights our JOG Center, which opened up in September. Dr. Sullivan is highlighted there. Where are you at, Dr. Sullivan? Dr. Rogers is highlighted in there, who we'll celebrate tonight. Gloria Williams is highlighted in for Region 8 Outstanding Board Member recognition. I also want to highlight one of the stories. Angel Herrera was on the Pleasant Run robotics team in 2017. This team made it all the way to the World Championship in Louisville that year, and they were also featured on CBS Sunday Morning for the resiliency and success that they experienced that year. Fast forward today, Angel is a freshman at Purdue studying computer science on a full ride scholarship. He credits Lisa Hopper, his STEM teacher and robotics coach, for building his confidence in this area. Beautiful story. So I encourage you to read that story in there. Lots of other great stories too. Dennis, great job this month. Board and community, tonight you'll hear from our Chief Operations Officer, Marcus Clayton, on an update on our enrollment management and redistricting plan. And then also we have lots of great student performances coming up. at the high school. Friday is our Warren Sings. This is our high school and middle school choirs that will be singing. It does say admission is $8, but admission is free. The Fine Arts Festival is next week, the 28th. The middle school and high school orchestra Spooky Sounds concert is on the 30th. I have to mention it, Julie, and then you can do the rest. Our Warren Family and Community Safety and Health Fair is this Saturday from 9 to 12 p.m. at the high school. The Indy Far East Magazine is being recognized. Is that correct, Dennis, at the Cafe Awards? Yes. Next Thursday, the 30th, so congratulations to them. And then I was asked to highlight the P30 community event next Friday, October 31st. And that's my report for this month.
Thank you so much. Always good to hear all the good news. And continuing on with excellent news, we are going to begin by spotlighting the Warren Central High School Unified Sports Teams.
Right up there. You guys are in the spotlight. All right. Did you want to read something to me? You want to go ahead? I'll let you go. Ladies first.
Good evening, Warren Township Board, as well as Dr. Hanson and our community members. We are super excited. This year we have had some phenomenal action out on the field with our unified flag football team. And so I wanted to highlight a few things because a lot of people don't know a lot about the program, but they are out there doing their thing. And so tonight we are proud to recognize the incredible accomplishments of our Warren Central Unified Flag football team for their outstanding 2025 season. This year actually marks the first time in school history that our unified team advanced to the IHSAA Unified Flag Football State Championship game. So give it up for them. More importantly, they did this with an undefeated regular season record in every game this season. The team scored at least 50 points, and every single athlete on the roster scored at least one touchdown, which is a true reflection of teamwork, dedication, and inclusion at its best. The Warriors were crowned sectional champions, defeating Hamilton Heights, Hamilton Southeastern, and Carmel before going on to become regional champions with victories over Brownsburg, Bedford North Lawrence. The team capped off their wonderful and historic season by earning state runner-up honors after a hard-fought game against DeKalb High School. So this is their trophy that they received. Students and athletes, we want to extend special recognition to Eli McGee, who was also named Athlete of the Week at the Warren Central for his leadership, playmaking, and positive attitude both on and off the field. In addition, 3 of our student athletes, Eli McGee, Abby Goodall, and Demetrius Bunton, have been recognized for a unified All-State. These athletes were chosen by their coaches for their exceptional performance at sectionals and regionals. At the state tournament, Abby Goodall and Samario proudly represented Warren Central by reciting the Special Olympics oath, reflecting the true values of unified sports, which is friendship, inclusion, and respect through competition. Additionally, lots happening there. It was fun. The statistics were worth celebrating. This championship-bound team consumed approximately 500 Chick-fil-A sandwiches and nuggets throughout the season, which is clearly proving that it is the food of champions. I don't know. We didn't get paid to say that. We might need to throw that. We might need to utilize that a little bit. But none of this sex would have been possible without the exceptional leadership of our coaches. So we have Coach Carly Murphy and Coach Dina Condra, who have done above and beyond for this team. Together, they have built a program that celebrates ability, teamwork, and belonging. Their commitment, their passion, and guidance has made a lasting impact on every student athlete and continues to embody what it means to be the pride of the East Side. So the other thing that's on here that we haven't mentioned is that Coach Dina Condra was nominated for Coach of the Year for our United Flag football season. So that is wonderful. So congratulations to Warren Central's Unified Flag team, sectional champions, regional champions, and state runners-ups. It's an unforgettable and record-breaking season. So we are super excited. You've made Warren Central and our entire community incredibly proud. So yes.
I'm just going to add a few more things because, well, one, I could never have done that, so that was awesome. But Dina, just so everybody knows, Dina is our reigning Warren Central High School Coach of the Year from last year. So she's got a good start, good leg up on this year too. But I also wanted to just throw this out there. Not only did this group, get state runner-up this year for flag football, they've also won the last 3 MIC championships in flag football and the last 3 MIC championships in track and field. So they've got a great thing going. Last year they finished 7th in the state in track, which was the highest finish that we had for Warren Central as well. So obviously Dina and Carly and some other coaches, Amanda Westerfield and Phyllis Mays, have done a great job with our kids. So we're really excited, really proud of them, proud of everybody. And, Saturday was so much fun. Got to watch the girls play, then come over and watch this group play. And as Ms. Hughes is going to say, these kids represented the East Side like no other. So we're really proud of them, proud of everything they've done. Congratulations.
All right, ready? Ready. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations, congratulations. 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 Nice job.
Good job.
And because we are going to embrace the joy this evening, next we have the Warren High School girls varsity flag football team.
We roll deep. This is how we rolled into every game.
Somebody stand here and hold this. Let me know once I do it.
All right. Again, good evening. Good evening. It brings me great pleasure to present to you all our Warren Central Girls Flag Football program and team. And as you can see, it has grown. It is growing. There's a lot of excitement that is developing behind this sport. And so I'm not going to steal some people's thunder here, but I do want to highlight a few things about the team and this season. The Warren Central Girls Flag Football program completed their 2nd season since the program began its pilot season 3 years ago. In the 2 years we have started the program, we have had more than 100 girls interested in girls flag at our high school. and roughly 75 to 80 try out each season. So as you can see, it is definitely popular and it is definitely growing. From the pilot year starting with 8 schools, we are proud to announce that there are about 97 schools going into next season as of mid-October, which is reaching closer to the goal of 100. And we'll talk to you about the significance of that number and of the program growing. The program is coached by Mrs. Mackenzie Brown, who was also named the Girls Flag Coach of the Week for week number 8. So that was exciting. Girls flag football has completed year 1 of its emerging sport status, and we'll define that. And the goal is by 2027, we should be a sanctioned sport by the IHSAA, and that is significant. This was the first year a postseason tournament was held through the Indianapolis Colts girls flag, and more than 60 teams participated. Warren Central was one of 8 teams that won the first ever sectional title and advanced to Grand Park for the final tournament. So these ladies have put in some work. Let's give them a round of applause.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. I just want to add to that. This was a really historic season in addition to last year launching this program for our school. As you can see, even though right now we're only limited to 25, we're excited for next year to be able to have both a JV and varsity program. So that way we can get more opportunities for more of our girls that may have not made the program for this year, a chance to be able to play. We're looking to hopefully here soon expand it down to the middle school level as well too, so then we can get those girls rolling, which we have a lot of interest in that as well that are already reaching out to Coach Kenzie. The special thing about Girls Flag to us is our partnership with the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts and the Ursay family are very passionate about Girls Flag and their initiative to try and, again, make this a sanctioned sport. There are not very many states in the United States that are sanctioned, so the goal to reach 100 schools is the promise by the Indianapolis Colts, and with us, again, being now at almost 97 going into next season is a great accomplishment. Serving on the Colts committee to try and get these schools to commit has been a great thing. And then a lot of our girls being able to go out to some of the special events that the Colts put on, from clinics to the mural. If you've been in Lucas Oil recently, they unveiled a girls flag football mural with all of the flags of each school that is committed. We had some of our girls be able to go to do that. So it's been really special. They've been at almost all of our, a representative has been at almost all of our games. They're really helpful in terms of providing financial assistance for the cost for our flag kits, when we host tournaments, when we have the sectional, things like that. So we really appreciate all of their help, especially with Zaire Franklin, who's also an ambassador for flag football as well. So, but I really appreciate Mackenzie being able to step up doing this, especially not playing sports. I know this is a huge challenge for her, but this has been something, again, as a historic season, being able to be one of 8 to have this. Oh, yes, and in addition, we have Coach Stephen Brown, Dwayne Brown, Kenzie's husband, Dev, right in the back as well, and then wherever Kyron's hiding. All the way in the back. And then another special thing into the program, some of our varsity boys football players, we did this last year too. We had a few that helped as student coaches as well too. So that kind of was a positive for us to, you know, have both groups together, and then they're able to teach girls the different skills within football, especially if they've never played before. So that's kind of the cross collab that's a benefit as well too. Do you have anything you want to say? Have her speak.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you for all being here and representing Girls Flag. The one thing I want to say for sure, I am very, very lucky to be coaching these group of girls. Every single last one of them hold a very special place in my heart, and every single last one of them get on my nerves. So that just shows that every single one of them have a part of me inside of them. The biggest thing about Girls Flag right now that's taking off is scholarships are being involved now. There are plenty of girls in the state of Indiana, yes, are getting full scholarships for Girls Flag. That is a big importance of it all, because not only are we giving them opportunity to do something for the community, but they also can go further on in life and get a free education. And that is the most important thing. So once I can say this to the girls now, because I say it to my boys, use football as much as it uses you. It could take you very far. Enjoy the sport, love it, and have fun.
Well, thank you. They're going to get a picture.
Picture. Shorter people in the front, taller people in the back. Y'all know how it goes.
Keep coming this way.
Me too. You're taller than me.
Keep coming this way.
Get close. We are a family. There we go. Little eight. Switch your butt over here.
You just gotta, yep.
All right, here we go. Everybody can see me. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Before sitting down, go and shake hands with the board. Get in the line. Shake hands. Oh, God.
Guys.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
What year are you?
One of these. Congratulations. I don't want to hurt you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Lip gloss. Y'all got it.
Congratulations. What year are you?
Love this popping. Congratulations.
7.
Congratulations. Okay. What did they say?
So, open sophomore.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. What year are you?
Can you get up right now? Congratulations.
Congratulations. What year are you?
Congratulations.
What year are you?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Girl. Congratulations.
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 What year are you?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
What year are you?
Sorry?
Congratulations. Great job, guys.
You're all the beauty over here. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Get the rest of it.
Gotcha. Congratulations. What year are you? Congratulations. What year are you?
Hey, how you doing, man?
What year are you?
Congratulations. I'm gonna go ahead and
Do you have a ribbon?
congratulations.
They want to have their turn to give them.
We are in December. A little later this
Thank
year.
you so much.
Congratulations. What year are you?
Thank you.
Some young people. Yeah. Congratulations, Coach. Congratulations. Congratulations. Loved you on the morning show. Oh, yes. You did great.
Where are y'all? Congratulations. Here goes your turn. Let me see your other coach. And you're in sitting down.
And continuing on, we have, I'm hoping to pronounce your last name correctly, and forgive me if I don't. Is it Brittany Clower?
Perfect.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Brittany Clower, and I'm representing the Indiana Association of Career and Technical Education. And I am excited to present this award to one of my dear friends, longtime colleague for about 9 years that I have known him now. I first met him as Steve Rogers. It wasn't until about 3 years into knowing him that I was at the ACTE State Conference and was serving on a panel with him. And I looked at our panel insert and said, Dr. Steve Rogers. Where'd you get your PhD from? And luckily it was Purdue, so that black and gold, always absolutely beautiful. And actually helped encourage me to continue on with my education through some scholarships. So excited that he was able to kind of mentor me through that. He's currently serving as the Indiana Association of Career and Technical Education Directors Division's president, and it is not an easy task this year. In the last 3 years, there has been a 53% turnover rate of area CTE directors in the state, and that doesn't count the ones that have turned over every year in that 3 years. So he has put some great initiatives together, rallying us all together and helping create a support network that has helped me continue in this profession. One of those, actually 2 of those, has been touring the lovely facilities here. When I first met Dr. Rogers, my mentor introduced me and said, this is the one you'll have to chase. He's the one that's going to be driving those initiatives, so be friends with him. And I said, sure thing. So one of them was coming and looking at the amazing dental program. The dental teacher was like, hey, have your teacher come out anytime. And I said, no, I can't afford this. Tell her it closed down if she tries to reach out. Don't let her come in here, because if she saw those facilities, I know that she would want something as grand, and I'm working towards it, but we're not there yet. Another one has been the rest of the remodel. I finally got a quick tour of that area, and I believe I was standing in the automotive area, and I said, this is absolutely amazing. And a student came out of the locker room, and he goes, I agree. And then just walked off. And I just was like, that is amazing that they see the facilities that they're getting to learn in through all these grants and local support and school board support to make sure that they are prepared for the jobs of the future. So I'm going to still be chasing you, Dr. Rogers, but until then, I will present you this award.
Speech.
I've been involved with the Indiana ACT, and I acted for almost 20 years now, so I truly appreciate Indiana ACT's award. It was very much a surprise, so I appreciate it and humbled by it, and thank you very much. So.
Nice to see you.
And next up, we have Natalie Reuter.
President Burke, Dr. Hanson, and the board. I'm very excited to be with you guys this evening. I get to announce a very special award that was given to one of our instructors. The Indiana Association of Adult and Continuing Education, every year they have an annual conference, and during the conference they choose one outstanding instructor from the state of Indiana. And this year, I'm grateful and thankful to get to share that Brenda Gaston from Warren Township was chosen. Yeah. So just to put a little context around it, there are over 850 adult education instructors in the state of Indiana. So this is a great pleasure. And Brenda has been with us for 14 years here at Warren Township. Brenda is not only an exceptional instructor, she's also been an instructional coach where she's worked to mentor new teachers. She also supports our existing teachers, and she's deeply, deeply passionate about helping our teachers so that students achieve success. So I couldn't be more thankful and grateful that Brenda's part of the Warren team, and so I'll hand over to you.
Hi, everybody. I did prepare a little speech here. When I was given the award at the conference, it was a surprise, so I didn't get to say maybe everything that I wanted to say. So it is a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you to the school board and everyone for having me. So I would just like to read what I prepared, and thank again everybody for your attention. So I'm going to start with the word essential. How would you define this word? The word essential was used a lot during the pandemic. It became a buzzword to describe workers who couldn't remain at home, right? Or we had to describe workers who couldn't remain at home while the rest of us were on lockdown. The grocery store cashier was now an essential worker. Our views shifted, and they also expanded during this time. So, as an English teacher, the definition of essential is absolutely necessary, cannot be done without, indispensable. Synonyms: fundamental, vital, and basic. So when I began my career in education, I taught elementary. And I always taught with creativity, enthusiasm, and passion. However, it never really occurred to me to think about these students as becoming part of the essential workforce in our communities one day. Which businesses have a talent gap? What's a talent pipeline? Which industries are most prevalent in our neighborhoods and in our state? Which professions have the best long-term security? These are some of the bigger picture concepts that I've developed while working with adult ed and advocating for adult education. As a K-12 educator, doing lessons, following required curriculum, preparing for mandatory testing, making sure my classroom climate was positive, they kept me busy. However, when you stop and think about the ultimate goal of a compulsory education, it's critical to think about these questions. Our adults are all ages in our building, okay? And our off-site locations. We also have how many off-site locations? We have several. So we're over at Highlander Park off of 21st Street, if you were not aware. And we now have some really nice flags that say free GED classes, which I think we're in a clever spot. Thank you. So our students are all ages. Some teenagers still, others are in their 70s. So I think about the unique talents, abilities, backgrounds, and skills that they have developed from their various educational and work experiences. At least once a year, I help students collect previous educational and workplace information, organize and present an All About Me project to an audience of their peers and our staff. I see, and our entire Indiana Adult Education organization sees, every single student who walks through our program's doors as essential, full of unlimited potential. This is a quote from one of our successful HSE graduates who was able to get a promotion at Amazon and go on to take HVAC training after completing our program. When I came to Warren Adult Education, I was very excited by the kindness of the administrative and teacher staff, and especially by their professionalism. For example, Ms. Brenda Gaston was a booster for me because she pushed me a lot to go toward my goals. So, to me, the ultimate compliment, in my opinion, is a booster to someone's life. And I am so proud to be awarded Teacher of the Year from Warren this year and Outstanding Adult Educator. And I've been privileged enough to work here for over 13 years, helping mostly our English learners overcome their language barriers, encouraging them to persist with their education and career training goals. So I want to thank Natalie Reuter, our amazing director, all of our talented Warren staff, and members of the school board who invited me here tonight to recognize my contributions to this program and give me a chance to speak. So I leave you with every essential student we teach or reach creates a stronger and more vibrant community. So. Thank you. I guess I can shake your hand. Thank you guys so much. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It was a privilege to be here.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you. We're happy. I haven't met you yet. Actually, I know you're in the building.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to our student council representative, Janiyah Bracken.
Good evening, President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, and attendees. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a relaxing and enjoyable fall break. Tomorrow, our student council will be hosting its annual leadership retreat at the New Beginnings Church with the theme of Making Waves in Leadership. Throughout the day, student leaders will take part in fun and meaningful bonding activities while actively learning about what it means to be a leader, someone who inspires others, takes initiative, and creates positive change within our school community. Additional news from the CSC, we're excited to announce that the Successful Warrior Awards program is making its return this year, and even better. It includes a car giveaway for seniors. This program continues to recognize and reward students who demonstrate commitment, responsibility, and school pride. Thank you everyone for being here today and allowing me to be here, and thank you for your continued support of our student council and all of our efforts to grow as leaders and make a lasting impact at Warren Central. Thank you.
Excuse me, how do they earn the car?
How they earn it? You have to have outstanding grades. You have to make 97% attendance, and you also have to be an outstanding leader.
All right, thank you.
And batting cleanup, but still very, very valuable, we have our mayor's neighborhood advocate, Sydney Starks.
All right, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's doing all right today. So I'm going to go over a few community updates with the city. Like said before, I've spoken a lot about the new city trash vendor contract with LRS, which is Lakeshore Recycling System. So at the beginning of October, so October 6th, crews started rolling out the new city trash bins across the city. So we're hitting in different districts. Remember, there are exceptions to those districts. So DPW districts are not changing the bins. So exceptions for 5, 7, 8, and 11. DPW, the Department of Public Works, they also did a great job at an FAQ page that you can find at indy.gov. A lot of different questions on there, but we've been encouraging people, if you have specific questions or having issue with the transition, to call the Mayor's Action Center. Our CSRs have been doing a great job of communicating with us as the mayor's neighborhood advocates on different things going on in our areas pertaining to it, but slowly but surely it's getting done. So any questions with that, feel free to email me. I'll give my email at the end once I go through some of these updates. The next thing I want to highlight is the YMCA, the Randsburg YMCA here on the east side. They're having their Fall Fest. So that's this Friday, October 24th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. It is a free event, but registration is encouraged, and that is on their website as well. It'll be crafts, games, hay rides. I'll be stopping by as well, so I will be there. And then also for IMPD updates, they're having a trunk or treat as well. That'll be this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. free event as well. And that is at the JD Sports Corporate Office parking lot. And they're also looking for volunteers for Indy PAL. So volunteers are needed. There's an application. So Indy PAL is the Indy Police Athletic and Activities League. So super fun and interesting. Indy.pal.org has all the information there for people who are interested in signing up for that. They also have their next IMPD East District Task Force meeting. That will be November 12th. I will be there as well. I don't believe they had an October meeting, so the November one will be the next one. Moving on to animal care services. So ACS is hosting an adoption event. So that'll be taking place November 8th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's at the Puppy Playground, which is 7224 Rockville Road. So that'll be a nice event as well. I also want to give an update from DPW pertaining to leaf collection. So they have the annual leaf collection program. So that begins Monday, November 10th through Friday, December 5th. During this time, residents can leave up to 40 bags of leaves per week for free pickup on their regular scheduled trash day. So it has to be on your trash day for that. Okay, and then another update I want to share, the final update. So Indie Peace, they're also having a trunk or treat. So that will be October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. That'll be at 1701 East 25th Street. So they're having it so you can register by car. So you can do that at www.indiepeace.org. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I went over?
What time's the task force meeting on the 12th? Do you know?
Task force, yes. Give me 1 second. So that is at, I believe they have it at 6 p.m. And it should only be going for about an hour, but I can also confirm that. I do want to say that I rolled out my first newsletter this month that was received very well. I've been signing people up for that. So how to sign up for my newsletter, you just send me an email. My email is sydney.starks@indy.gov. That's SYDNEY.STARKS@indy.gov. I also have some of the information that I talked about today on there, and then I'll be rolling out my November one soon as well. And I also believe I have the IMPD information on there too.
Board, you have a copy of, it was a beautiful newsletter, by the way.
Thank you, thank
You
you.
have a copy of it in your folder, your black folder.
Okay, great. All righty, well, thank y'all. I hope y'all have a good rest of your night. Thank you, thank you.
And with that, we are going to be going to board comments. Oh, that's a side eye. So we'll be starting with Gloria.
Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a great fall break. I know I did. There has been so much being said. I only have to hit on three things. Halloween is coming, and I remember when I was a teacher, I used to dress up as a witch and give Halloween safety tips to the kids. I was like, ha, 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 you better. I changed my voice and everything. But I would like for everyone to encourage our kids to be safe. They get so excited running around trying to get the candy, and we want to make sure that they're safe, not get hit by a car and stuff like that. Next is gun safety. It's so sad that we're losing our youth to gun violence. And we need to start talking to our young people about how to solve their problems without being violent. So each one reach one. We need to really reach out to our young people. And I know that there's a health and safety coming up that the superintendent talked about, and that's going to be October the 25th. Hopefully they'll talk about it there, and we need to encourage more people to attend that, because safety is going to be really important for our young people and for us adults too, because we're losing adults as well. And usually our young adults, they have just begun to live. I want them to grow old like me. So we have to really talk to them. So the last thing is, this is Principal Recognition Month. I know some people haven't said anything, but that includes administrators too. So if you have not given recognition to a principal or an administrator, please do so, because they need to be recognized every month. But this month we want to make them really feel special, because they work so hard to try to work with our children and our families. So we want to encourage you, and I just want to go, woo! Good job, principals and administrators. Keep up the good work.
Welcome back. Fall break, a good breath of fresh air. I'm looking forward to a great period between now and the Thanksgiving Day break. A good pause. That'll be a good pause. We've got a lot happening between now and then, so let's go.
Okay, this will be the last update about our health and safety fair, unless I decide to come back and tell you how wonderful it was next month. So I just want to tell you some things that are going on. First of all, regarding your Halloween safety, if you want to dress up like a witch and come and help, because we have a Halloween safety activity for our kids. We have DIY first aid kits, so if you don't have a first aid kit, come and build one for yourself.
This is my witch's tune. You better watch out, because I am going to put a spell on all the cars, and you better look both ways before you cross the street, because I might just let them hit you.
Okay. Going to gun safety now. As you know, that was what got both Tabitha, my cohort at this, and myself going for the safety fair. We were tired of seeing children hurt by guns, our adults being hurt by guns, etc. So there is a lot of gun safety things there. We're going to have Be Smart there. We're going to have the youth, Marion County Youth Prevention, Youth Violence Prevention. I always have to figure that one out. Will be there. And we also have Indie Peace that will be there as well. And between the three of those, we're going to have gun locks and gun boxes that we can provide if you need them. And then the kids will be able to, will get activity books that they can color on gun safety too. So, you know, if you see a gun, don't pick it up, that sort of thing. We're going to have a huge fire safety poster that the kids can color. And then we'll have one big picture that all the kids have colored together. We have Stranger Danger, Touch a Truck. We're going to have car seat checks. So if you have young kids and you have car seats for them and you want to check and make sure they're put in right because you're concerned about that, you slow down and the kid goes forward like this, or they go sideways when you're turning. You can come and check and make sure that you have your car seat in properly, and if not, how to get it installed. And if you don't have a car seat, there will be some available as well. While supplies last. If they run out, you can go to another table that will have a QR code where you can sign up to get a car seat through the IFD, the Indianapolis Fire Department, and you'll find out, they'll tell you when to come, and you'll take your car and your kids there, and they will put it in your car and teach you how to put it in, and they will make sure that the straps are all correct for your child and everything. So come check that out. That's from 10 to noon. Decatur Township Drug-Free Coalition Education Trailer will be there. So this is for adults over 21. That's for the parents and community members over 21. Come and check out some information regarding that. They have a trailer that's made up like a kid's bedroom. So you can go in and they show you where to look and what to look for. And there's also information on mental health of children as well. Teen impact driving. The kids can put these goggles on and they do a obstacle or a course where they're kind of going around and they have to put keys in a container or something like that. And so they get a feel of what it's like to be under the influence. So hopefully they will understand the importance of not drinking and driving. Our kids have a lot of temptations at the high school age, and so we want to give them as much education as possible in a fun way too. Our transportation will be there with a school bus. We have STI, STD, and Hep C testing. It will be confidential, but you can get that testing done as well. Indie Peace will be there. They have domestic violence there, and then conflict resolution.
Good.
They'll have a conflict resolution, and there's going to be a table in the high school area where it's going to be directed directly at high school age kids for domestic violence and conflict resolution. And then there's going to be a table out in the main area that also has that information as well for families, family domestic violence. Let's see. MCRC, our Moorhead Community Resource Center, will be there sharing everything they have so that you know what resources you can get by just going a short distance away, and they'll be able to help you out and your family out. Aramark will be there. I think they have a game to test your skills, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a spinner thing, and you get to figure out, Anyway, if you need a smoke detector, you can sign up for a smoke detector via QR code, and there's much, much more. So all of this being said, if your kids want to go to that IMPD trunk or treat, bring them in costume. We want them at our place. Have them there until noon or whatever, from 9 to whenever. Do all of our stuff, have fun, and then go over to the IMPD place that I think is JD. I think it's off of 33rd Street, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if it's on Midhofer or Post, but it's right around 3 because I drive past it a lot. Anyway, come to us first, go to them second. Okay?
What date is ours?
The 25th, this Saturday.
The trunk or treat is
Oh,
this Saturday?
no, that's the trunk or treat is Saturday as well. That's through IMPD.
Okay, this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Not the 31st. Okay.
No, the Indie Peace one is the 31st. So, okay, I think that's all I got.
Welcome back, everyone. I know it's cold outside, and it seems like it just happened really quick. Just bundle up, stay warm, and I hope that with the new semester or quarter starting, that our children are really taking hold and really enjoying their lessons and absorbing everything they can before fall break. Or not fall break, but Thanksgiving break. So as you're alluding to. But I have seen Miss Julie and her counterpart from Lawrence Township working endlessly on this gun safety program. And I know that they put a lot of work into it, really trying to protect our youth and our families. If you really don't have anything to do, or if you think something's more important than this, swing by there. It's 9 to 12?
9 to noon. 9 to noon at the high school, door 25. It's in the competition gym, the Hall of Fame, outside area. We have, I think I said touch truck. We're having that. Fire truck will be there too. So all kinds of stuff.
I agree with everybody else. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of your break. Ryan, you just look like you worked the whole time. Okay. As we know, this is really to our gallery, to our staff, and as well as our community that are listening. It is a strong possibility that SNAP benefits will be on hold next month. As we're going into the holiday season, we already know that that brings on additional barriers and stressors for our families, which increase mental health challenges. For food insecurity, and I also want to thank Ryan for moving so swiftly. I always give Ryan credit for something. Dr. Hanson and Matt. For Fall Festival, our families are used to a large farmers market. And this year, just with collaboration with the safety fair, we weren't doing the Fall Festival. So I called Dr. Henson in one of my probably distressed voices, like, hey, we're forgetting a key element here. Our families look for these food opportunities for fresh produce. So I want to thank you all for collaborating with us, and MCRC, MLT, and MSD Warren stepped in to take up the rest of that bill. So we will have fresh produce. We will only have 150 dozen eggs, so first come, first serve. But we will have eggs, we will have a protein and fresh produce. So please, staff, family, community, if you need food, please, please, please stop by the free farmers market. And if you're facing food insecurities, we will have a sign up there to be able to reach out to you. The other opportunities for the holidays, November the 22nd, we will be working with the Pacers team to, on November the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be a giveaway, and that is specifically for targeting our Haitian Creole families on that day. And then November the 26th, we will be back at MCRC along with MSD Warren. Airmark helped out last year, coming along, making sure we have at least 500 food baskets and turkeys, some meat protein. We have turkeys and chickens because everybody don't eat turkey. And the last announcement I want to make for the holidays is December the 20th will be our holiday fair. We will have toys, the sign up and registrations. Dr. Hanson, if you guys, Lamar, can get those links out to the community. It will be at the high school is always so gracious to allow us to use all 3 courts. That day we will have toys. We will again have food, produce. We will try to increase that because our babies are out for 2 weeks. And most of the times they get most of their food supplements from school. So we want to make sure during that break they still have something to take home. So that is my community announcements. Again, if you know anyone experiencing food insecurity, on the 26th, we usually give our staff, Dr. Henson usually take care of special invitations for at least 50. If we need to increase that, let me know. But we open the doors to our staff first before we open up to the community. So please don't be ashamed. Please, 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 we are there to support. Thank you.
Can I say one thing in
No, ma'am.
reference to what you said? It's really important. If you have any donations that you can give to Moorhead, they accept donations. I know that frequently I take new items or just slightly used items, and I usually get a lot of new items, and I just take it over there, and you can just take it and let them know you're there and take it to the back door. So, the more donations, the better, because they really take care of a lot of people in the community. So if you find it in your heart to give donations, they accept them every day, any day. Thanks.
Just like old times. Huh? Well, once again, welcome back, everyone. And we starting off with a good note on our first meeting back. We got to celebrate our young student athletes. We got to celebrate our teachers and our directors. So we're getting it done, all ends there. We got our safety going. We got our food, community support net going. So we're getting it done here at Warren, as we always do. So once again, thank you for everyone. Welcome back, and let's keep this thing going.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had an amazing fall break. I have been asked to share that tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 7, Lowell's Haunted House will be open for the 13th year. So lucky number 13. If you want to go visit the first half an hour from 5:30 to 6, the lights are on. The second hour from 6 to 7, the lights are off, and they would love to have everyone attend and come see it. It's during their fall festival, but they have been turning that cabin into a haunted house now for 13 years. So there's that. I want to go off of what LaShawna said as a reminder. 211 is a wonderful service to try to also find other help throughout the community, whether it is food or services. We're going to have to all come together as more and more things are dropping out with federal funding really just disappearing come November. So to repeat what you said, reach out, get what you need. There are organizations and people who are willing to help, so please make sure that you are doing that. And with that, we are going to go to Kevin to see if we have any board correspondence.
No, Madam President, we do not.
And do we have any blue cards?
And no, we do not also.
Excellent. Well, not excellent, but at least we got that done. So next, we have the consent agenda. This month, the consent agenda consists of the approval of minutes, various financial reports, the human resources report, field trip requests, change orders, contracts, use of school property, and conflict of interest forms. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Terry, and thank you, Julie. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we will move on to the vote. And the motion carries. We have one more item from our consent agenda that was pulled out, which is our financial claim register. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
I've got a motion from Julie. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Howard. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, that will also go up for a vote. And that also passes unanimously, but with one abstention. Don't know why that was so difficult for me today. And with that, we are going to move on to our reports this evening, beginning with transportation with Lynn Storm and Bill Halpin. And Austin, I apologize, your name was only on one of my two documents. And Austin Feltner.
It's okay.
Good evening, President Burke, Dr. Hanson, school board, and guests. My name is Lynn Storm, and I am the very proud director of Warren Township Transportation. This is my 15th year in transportation. I'm even prouder of the fact that I'm a Warren Central graduate, as are my 3 children. Yes, yay me and my family.
There's not a lot of alumni in the room. We have to unite, Lynn.
I know, Warren Central did a good job.
Yes, yes.
I'm Bill Halpin, an assistant director of transportation. My initials for high school are WC as well, but it was Warsaw Community, not Warren Central. But I've been in Warren now for 28 years, so a very proud warrior.
Hi, I'm Austin Feltner. I'm the garage supervisor for the district. I did not graduate from Warren Township. I went to a neighboring school district, but I have been in the district for going on 8 years now.
I'll let you in on a little secret. The year I started working in Warren Township is the year he was born. Yeah, so I've been here for a minute. We're going to start out with the strategic plan focus and board goal is to invest in safety and operational excellence. And then I'm going to let Austin talk to you about our bus fleet.
Good evening. So our current fleet overview is right now we have 145 buses in our fleet. It's split between yellow and white. White buses are our activity buses. We have 104 propane powered buses. That's around 71, almost 72% of our fleet. 32 buses is about 21%, 22%, I'm sorry. And then our 9 activity buses, it's almost 7%. In August, the Transportation Department expanded and updated its fleet with the purchase of 13 new and replacement vehicles. We purchased 11 new buses, 4 diesel-powered buses with understorage, 5 propane-powered buses that are 78-passenger conventional buses, and 2 propane-powered wheelchair-accessible buses. We also purchased 2 used activity buses to replace some of the two oldest activity buses in our fleet. Infrastructure upgrades. Since last year, we have completed our, almost completed our propane expansion. We used to have 4 1,000-gallon tanks that we used to fill our fleet. We have now since removed those and added one 18,000-gallon tank with an additional 2 dispensers, so that gives our drivers 4 areas that they can get fuel at to kind of speed up the rush in the afternoon to get fuel before they head before their routes. We also added a new bus wash, a state-of-the-art bus wash that has been installed. It's now operational. This system offers greatly improved washing capabilities that can now accommodate our service vehicle fleet. This helps really good in the wintertime to help remove all the corrosive chemicals, the salt, debris from the road in the wintertime to help prolong the life of all of our service vehicles and other vehicles in the fleet. Upcoming inspections and recent success. Our semi-annual bus inspections are scheduled for the 28th of this month. We only have 11 buses due this time around. We anticipate achieving another 100% score on this. For our 2024 annual inspections, we received 91% score on the first time pass. This represents our highest first time score in many years, and we are focused on improving this initial score during our 2025 inspections. I'm going to pass this over to Lynn now.
This is Deanna Horn. She is our senior router, and she was our support staff person of the year for transportation. More importantly, she was the operations support staff person of the year for the entire township. So we're really proud of Deanna and the work that she does. We have another router, Rakaya Clayton. We did have 3 routers. Greg Miles was our trips and activities router. We unfortunately lost him to cancer last February, so we have absorbed his job into our department. And with that, I'm going to let Bill talk more about our routing technology and the new things we have coming up.
Thank you. With the absorption of our routing position, we're now down to 2 routers instead of 3. We are in the current process, thanks to you, School Board, of a migration to Traversa. For the last, I think it's at least 12 years, we have been using a program called VersaTrans to route our children every morning on these buses that we send to school every day. Traversa is the neighboring product for it's the same company, but it's an upgrade from the Tyler company. And VersaTrans, the way I like to compare it is VersaTrans is like the iPhone 7. It works well, it gets the job done, and now we're switching to Traversa, which is going to be the iPhone 17. So we're looking forward to that, and I want to explain a little bit some of the differences that you're going to see that we will see in the office, but hopefully in efficiency for the school district, we'll see them as well. In the new system, we'll see we'll better serve our township, allowing our router team to handle the needs much more efficiently. When you look at Traversa, it is an all-in-one suite program. Right now, our current system in VersaTrans, we have 3 different software programs to accomplish all these things. Routing our children to school, getting the trips and activities out for our kids, updating the GPS for our drivers, our parent communication, fleet maintenance, dispatch, and resource management. It's all done through 3 software programs. This migration to Traversa is going to be an 18-month process, 12 to 18 months, and we're going to concurrently use VersaTrans and Traversa both together. So as we do that, I'm going to let you know a little bit more about how we can do that to benefit our families. The first way our families are going to be serviced better is we're going to be able to have alternative stops for our families. And the way for me to describe this to you, we all know in this room that it takes a village to raise a child. And in our current system, we can only have a child on one particular bus. And a Warren Township student may go to tutoring on Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday, they may go to the YMCA. Thursday, they may just go home to their regular home. And there's all these pieces that we manually have to update in our current system. And it will not show up on the driver's tablet unless we make those systems. So this new addition to Traversa allows us to put a child on multiple buses and will automatically appear on the child's on the tablet. Because we know plans change. Don't go to the Y tonight, mom's going to be home. So we're really looking forward to that change, and our routers are going to benefit from that. The second way our families are going to be serviced better is the creation of bus routes. On our iPhone, I keep going back to the iPhone because it's something we all can relate to, or any cell phone. If we typed in on our map directions to Memphis, Tennessee, it would automatically pop up 3 different ways to get there. It would show us different routes that we can take. The fastest route, the most direct, the least turns. Well, this new Traversa program will automatically do that. We put the addresses in the system. It will automatically put the routes up for us. And then instead of having to draw the actual route that our routers are currently doing, they can take a look and go through each route and get the safest stop for our kids. So this is going to be a big advantage for us with the Traversa. Also, with the this is the learning curve for our families, but I think it's going to be something we're going to be able to do. We're going to be switching in the next 12 to 18 months from the MyStop app to the MyRide K-12. It's going to be an upgrade. And then we're going to have to strategically get this out to our families so they know that this is going to be the new app that they go to watch to see where their child's bus is at. The advantage for our families is if I'm a Warren Township parent that has 3 students that go to all of our different schools, in order for me to see each child's bus, I have to log out of my current student, log back in on the current app, and put those credentials in. The local ID number, the 8-digit date of birth. So it's a little tedious process. With our new system in the MyRide app, you'll see all your children on one page, and it's just a matter of clicking. So we're looking forward to that upgrade as well. Again, this is not something that's going to go like this. This is a process that will take 12 to 18 months. We're going to run both systems together until we're ready to actually make the switch. And with our redistricting plans, you know, we're looking at this really closely. Our first meeting with our company for Traversa, is it November, Lynn? November 10th, I believe? November 5th. So we're starting that process. And then for our drivers, in addition to when you guys approved Traversa, we also are getting an upgrade in our tablets. Our actual driver tablets are rotating out. We're buying 25, I think it's 25 to 50 a year, depending on, I don't even forgot what we were buying a year, but whatever it is, we're rotating the tablets in and getting the old tablets out. The good news is, no matter what system we're on, Versatrans or Traversa, it still runs on the older tablets or the new ones. So we think we got a really good package here, and we're looking forward to the change. And speaking of our drivers getting new tablets, I'm going to let Lynn speak about the driver training and certification.
We get calls all the time and say, why are you short drivers? Just get somebody with a driver's license. Unfortunately, it does not work that way. All of our drivers have to maintain compliance and ensure the highest safety standards. They have to meet the following training and certification requirements. Their licensing, they don't just have a regular driver's license. They've got a Class B commercial driver's license, and that includes school bus endorsement, passenger endorsement. So that says they're allowed to be in a school bus, and that says they're allowed to have children on that bus. Safety and emergency response training. We teach all of our staff in the nonviolent crisis intervention training. They have CPR AED certification. They have special needs training. And when we do our special needs training, I will invite you when we're getting ready to do it again because it's hands-on. It's on the back lot. They're jumping in and out of bus. We've got runners. We're trying to plan for anything that might happen on a special needs bus. But then that also includes our students that the driver and the monitor have to be specifically trained for their need. If we have oxygen on the bus, if we have service animal on the bus, if that child requires a diastat, if they're diabetic, we have diabetic kits that we pass out to them. There's just all kinds of things, stomach feeding tubes that we have to train our drivers specifically in as our special needs children need. We do the I Love You Guys training. And we did this year was our first year we did the Narcan training, and we have Narcan available on every one of our buses. and our certification requirements. With our ongoing compliance and health, the adherence to state and federal requirements certifications. So with their driver's license, all bus drivers have to take a certification. We have to recertify every year with the state. We have to have an annual physical examination saying that we are physically able to drive a school bus. We have to lift and drag 50 pounds. A bus driver has to have 100% usage of all their extremities. So they can't, even if they come to work and they've broken a finger, then the state says that they can't grip the wheel and they can't drive a bus. So any little thing will knock them out of commission. And then we do pre-employment and random drug testing. In the mornings, Bill stands at the back. He checks all the drivers and monitors as they come in. In the afternoons, I do that. So that's just, we're supposed to put eyes on them. So if we see anybody that's suspect or concerning the way they're acting, then we would send them for a random drug and alcohol test. Community and state partnerships. Our commitment to safety extends beyond the road through active collaborations with state and local agencies. This year, we worked with the Indianapolis Fire Department, and we gave them 2 buses, and they were able to do training on those buses to see what it would be like to extract the side of the bus in an emergency situation, to get seats out, get children out. We do state training support. We facilitated state-level safety initiatives by providing our site and buses for internal training purposes, including the filming of promotional videos on stop arm and railroad crossing procedures. Those were videos that were made with Indiana State Police, because the Indiana State Police is the governing organization over all school buses in Indiana. And then IMPD has chosen Warren to come out. They bring their SWAT team out every year. And it's a little scary, but they bust through the windows on the old buses. And I mean, they're tearing through there. And these guys are big. They run 10 miles around the, it's 2 miles if you walk around the whole transportation department. And they run 10 with all of their gear on before they start doing these, their rescues on the buses. So they come out and their whole thing is to train their staff on a bus under siege, should that happen. Upcoming events, we have our 12-year-old and older buses inspections that Austin already talked about. We're doing the Journey to Safety this Saturday, and we'll have the bus out there for people to look at. We've got coloring books and games and prizes. And then next week is Transportation Appreciation Week from the 27th through the 31st. So any small gifts or treats, we love treats, would be appreciated. And this doesn't stop here. We do all kinds of other things in community. Last year alone, I had 5 dogs board the buses, and we volunteer to foster those dogs until we find their owner. We take them to see if they've been microchipped, and then we post it on the Warren chat to find where their owner is. We had a really kind of a neat experience, but IMPD called me and said, we have a little lost lady, and I don't know if you guys, some of you may have heard it on the radio a couple weeks ago, and they said she's got gray hair, blue pants, green shirt, and a flower in her hair, but she loves the school buses. She's over in the Lowell Raymond Park area, and we were hoping one of your drivers might see her wandering around. She had Alzheimer's. So I put a call out to the drivers. Everybody is looking for this lady because the buses are everywhere. Our bus driver did not find her, but the police did find her, and she was safe. But we do whatever we can to help the community. Do you have any questions of any of us? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got quite a few.
Okay.
What is more expensive, the propane or the diesel?
Austin?
It kind of varies depending on the additions that you add to the bus. I mean, they're within $1,500 to $3,000 of each other. It just depends on the add-ons that you do.
Are you talking about the cost of the bus or the actual fuel?
Are your white buses, your white activity buses, you said you got 9 of them. Are there any more white activity or any white buses? Or do you just have 9 white buses?
Just have 9 activity buses.
Are they large or small?
They're small, they're 14 passenger.
Buses, okay. Are they the same buses you use for your special ed kids?
No.
No, okay, don't do that. Okay. You getting any fuel discounts for your bus, for your fuel?
We get it at a government rate. I'm not exactly sure what we pay at right this moment, but we do get some sort of government discount.
So why are you using, why do you have it mixed up like that, diesel and fuel? I thought that was kind of, diesel and propane, I thought that was kind of interesting.
So the propane definitely is cleaner and cleaner for the urban areas. It's quieter, especially on the buses. We use the diesel buses mainly for long trips. So trips that go out of town, out of the state, we use those because in the event that we send a propane bus, it's a lot easier to find a diesel station to fill up instead of a propane.
One other question. How often do you conduct your random drug testing?
We have what we call the drug wagon that comes once a month, and we're just randomly selected. Sometimes I've been pulled every month for 6 months, and then I might go a year and not get pulled at all.
What do you use? Social security numbers? What do you do?
I have to go out and present my driver's license and my social security number, and then they tell me whether I'm getting pulled for just a drug test or drug and alcohol, because they do breathalyzers too. And they do it's a split test, so they do a test right there on site, and then it usually says that you're a pass or a fail, and then they send the other half of the test off. And so should there be a problem with the first test, the first test won't say what it is. They just say you passed or you failed. The other test gets sent off. It takes a couple days, and then it comes back and tells us what exactly they failed from. Was it cocaine? Was it marijuana?
So what do you do to a person that fails the test?
We call HR. But we do have situations where we have had employees fail a test for a drug or for alcohol. And when they've been forthcoming before they're going out to take the test, and they'll tell me that, I was with some people over the weekend, I'm really afraid this is not going to go well, or I was doing something, I took some of my sister's pain pills, I don't have the prescription for them, because that stuff will come back. So we'll work with them, and we have had drivers and staff that it has put them out of commission for maybe a year to 6 months, because then they have to go through our drug testing company, and they have to pay for it. And it's usually anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000 for them to get a clean bill of health to come back. And at that time, if we can, we will let them continue to work doing something. It would not be driving a bus or being a monitor on a bus, but we would try and find something for them to do that's not safety sensitive until we can get them back to work.
Have you had any reason to, well, not reason, but have you had to use your Narcans?
We have not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Are you guys trained in that?
We are.
Right. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thank you for answering the question.
In reference to when they come and say, oh, I had a busy weekend and drank too much, at that point in time, do you just say, because if they had that, they shouldn't have showed up for work. They should have just not showed up. But
True.
Do you tell them they have to go home, or do you allow them to drive? Or
if they don't take the test, even if they fail the test, if they don't take the test, it's an automatic fail and they have to be terminated. I have to recommend them for termination. If they do take it and they fail and they're honest, then there's a doctor that they would see within our drug testing facility that they can talk to and explain. They don't have to disclose that information to me or our safety person, but they do have to tell that personal information to the doctor. And then he determines what steps he would take if they just need to be off 6 months. If they'll come up with a whole plan and let them know how much it's going to cost them and how long before they could go back to doing their regular job.
I have one other question. How many of your buses are air conditioned?
We're very excited about the air-conditioned buses. We have 12 now. All of our special needs buses are air conditioned. All of our white activity buses are air conditioned. Last year, our big buses that we started ordering started coming with air conditioning just in the driver's box. And it's not that we don't like the kids, but it's very, very expensive. And if we can keep the driver cool while they're on that bus for 6 to 8 hours a day, then that kind of helps us with our driver retention. But we don't have a lot now, but going forward, we will have the air conditioning in what's called the driver's box.
Okay, you saying moving forward, it'll just be for the drivers and it won't be for the students?
Until they can come off the price of, we have a budget. We get about $2.5 million to buy our buses every year, and that only gets us 10 or 11 buses. It doesn't get us a lot because they're very expensive. And hopefully the price will start coming down. But Carmel has air-conditioned buses. They're the only ones.
Because I know, I just imagine when it's really hot outside, I can't imagine me getting in my car and not having air conditioning. And basically, you could roll the windows down.
Yes.
However, when it's raining or storming outside and it's hot, you can't raise the windows down. So that would be risky.
It's hard. It's hard. And we do other things, upgrades on our buses that not everybody's doing. All of our buses have lap shoulder belts in them for the children. We have special lighting, so the buses are much brighter now. The school bus across the front and the back and the stop arms are lit more brightly like what police cars are.
I just had a bright idea. We always have the Education Foundation, and you know how they have people bidding and get, why couldn't we have one of those just for our buses to try to work on getting more air-conditioned buses? You'd be surprised how many people might donate. So, I mean, I'm just offering that as a suggestion moving forward, because, I want our students to be comfortable too, so.
Sure.
As a member of the Arts and Education Foundation, Ms. Williams, we will take that topic offline as we gather more information. But I do have two things for your NORCAN. Is that put in is it in a safety area, just accessible with, for the drivers?
Yes.
Okay, and then I didn't hear you mention Stop to Bleed kits. Do you have Stop to Bleed kits on all of your buses?
Do we have? We don't have Stop the Bleed kits.
Okay. Have you all taken the Stop to Bleed training? All of your drivers have taken that? Okay. So then we need to work on how many? 104?
150.
150 Stop the Bleed kits. Thank you. I didn't hear you mention that, so I just wanted to check on that. Thanks.
We would love that.
We'll work on that.
I think we're good. Thank you so much. Technology update time.
Good evening, President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. Hopefully you recall at this time last year you approved the purchase of additional modules for our Synergy Student Information System. One is analytics, the other was MTSS. School board goals, I think we'll find that these two will at one point hit every one of these goals in the strategic plan. So just a little background, take you back to a few years ago. So way back in 2015, we purchased an analytics software called Decision Ed, and we used that for quite a while. We replaced that with 5Lab, which was more intuitive and graphical than Decision Ed was. It's also known as Frontline Student Analytics now. One of the difficulties with 5Lab was we lost access for teachers to reporting. This was always on the roadmap with 5Lab, but it just never materialized. Also, with 5Lab, we had difficulty measuring its use. Ironically, we would ask them, they would send us a spreadsheet. Here's all your usage, and I would see that some of our top reports were New York State reports, which obviously we wouldn't use. They recognized that was a problem, but never were able to really give us clean data that just represented Warren usage. But the limited data that we did get suggested that we just had a small pocket of users that were really heavily using it. So that made us look into, maybe we should look for something to replace that and get back teacher access for one. We wanted a data analysis, reporting, and dashboard tool that would look at all of our academic data. And clearly, access for teachers was important for us. So in May of 2024, we issued the RFP. July, we had vendor demonstrations. We had stakeholders from across the district involved with that. They narrowed it down to two vendors, Renaissance Learning and Synergy Analytics. We wanted the early warning system. To get that with Synergy Analytics, you had to also purchase the MTSS module. So we ended up landing on Synergy. It turned out that the price of Analytics and MTSS was very similar to the price for Renaissance Learning and the price that we were paying for 5Lab. So we actually gained some functionality by switching to Analytics and MTSS. You'll see in the presentation I combined the early warning system with Analytics rather than MTSS right now. So again, last year at this time, you approved the purchase of those modules. So Synergy Analytics, the benefit, one of the big benefits of this is the software package that our users are in every day, that's where analytics lives. So the timeline, so let's jump back. The timeline, as you recall, so last August through December, we were looking at 5Lab report usage, and then we did an official kickoff with EduPoint in December. So we did some training with our staff in December and January, and we were building our first dashboards with EduPoint staff helping us. February through May, then we worked with the high school team on adjustments to standard reports that EduPoint delivered, and we started producing our own Warren-specific reports. So, you know, we had some quick wins. We were able to leverage our current skill set within IT to just pick up the building of these reports pretty quickly. Some of the challenges really was just us knowing where to find the data within this database, because now we're looking at tables we weren't always looking at before. Challenge for EduPoint, which was a challenge for 5Lab, which was a challenge for Decision Ed, was Renaissance. So they kind of scratched their head and said, how do these students work in your system? So we were able to get over that hump and get some reports produced for Renaissance and the rest of the schools. So this implementation team, there were two members from EduPoint. One was the product manager. We had our technology team, Todd Gehring, who's sitting in the back, was part of that. Alex Pruitt, our programmer, and I was on that team, and we have two of our esteemed high school team here with us tonight, Allison and Trent Bodine, and Bree Brown also was part of that process. When I get to MTSS later, just remember what this slide looks like. You may be shocked. So what does it look like? I mentioned before that it's all within the same system. So when I'm in Synergy, I can go right to this option for the Synergy Analytic homepage, and you can see a list of dashboards that are available. So as I click on each one, you'll get an idea. If I click on assessments, you can see we have an iRead3 dashboard. We have a number of attendance dashboards that you can see here. Discipline dashboards, enrollment dashboards. These are marks or grades dashboards, and I like to show this one because it's a role-based system. So for example, the dashboard at the top is what the high school sees. So you'd see like just general marks, all grades, D's and F's, and then we have a freshman learning center report there on the end. But the middle school doesn't see that. Middle school sees the same first three, but then they have their own middle school honor roll dashboard that they see. And the high school does not see that one. So it's all based on your role, what school you're at, and that's just determined by your Synergy access. We also have dashboards for online registrations, some at-a-glance secondary student perspective, pulls a lot of information onto one screen for you. There's also, for supervisors, teacher gradebook activities, and then we have our device invoice program in there as well. So I mentioned the teachers have access to this as well. As you can see, it's important on this screen. This is the same place they go to get to the gradebook. And right next to the gradebook option is the analytics. And we'll get to it later, but you can see over there on the right is actually MTSS also. So they log into one system and they can get to all of them. Right now they have access to chronic absenteeism, missing attendance, and the letter grade analysis. So at the end of each day, they can just go in and run missing attendance, and they can find whatever they're missing for that day and can go back and update their attendance. So I mentioned there were some dashboards delivered out of the box from EduPoint. They were out of the box, but we still had to fine tune them to work well for us. I mentioned Renaissance in particular to make that work right. There were some discipline, enrollment, marked student and supervisor dashboards, but we quickly transitioned from this into just creating our own. So these are Warren created dashboard reports that we have created since May. So we've made a lot of progress in the last 5 months or so, with a lot more under construction right now. And a lot of these were created with the assistance of the high school team. When I mentioned there was a small group of users in 5Lab before, most of those users were at the high school, so that's why we focused on them to begin with. And a lot of these high school reports also are applicable at middle school, so we'll be able to push those down as we get sign off on how well those work at the high school. So I want to give you an example of what they look like. So if I were to select one, this is a 90-90 report. So one of our goals is to have 90% of our students have 90% or greater attendance. So anybody in our staff can come in here and see how we're doing so far. And it's important to know, like, all these places where you see the colors or the numbers, I can click on those and it'll drill in and I can see the students that are part of that percentage. I'll show you how that looks here in a bit. This is a recent one, so we have tardy totals by type and period. The high school uses this. What's nice is there are some codes that are dependent on the, or color codes that are dependent on the value. So it makes the values bounce off the screen a little more. You can see there's one in red, so it makes it a little easier for people when they look. You can see I've grayed out the students, but on the left they would see the student name and the ID as well. They can also, there are tabs here at the top, they can switch the to look at a particular tardy code if they want to. I like this one because it gives you a sample of some other types of reports that can be thrown out there. So you've got some options here that just show you, how we've done historically, and also gives you a breakdown by grade. And I think the one on the right is also by grade. It's cut off at the bottom there, but you get a flavor for what it can do. And again, all these numbers I can click on and it'll give me the detail behind it. This is a new one where we've created for our school enrollment. So this is as of a particular day, what our enrollment looks like across the district. The left column is the total district. We can see a breakdown across the schools. At the top, I've got my tabs, so if I want to look at special programs, I can click on those and get numbers. You would see on here, 2 colors on the bars, and like if I were to click on SPED, you'd see the SPED number and the Gen Ed number together. In a broken record, you can click on that. You can also see who the students are behind that. This is the all grade analysis, so this is breaking down A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's by grade. You can also change the tab, department, course, or teacher, click into it, see the students. Here's that middle school honor roll that I talked about before. I like this one because I've grayed out the student names on the left. There you can see they're blue, they're hyperlinks. So I can then click on those students. And this was what happens when I click on any of those bars and I get a list of students. I'll have a hyperlink for that student, which will let me drill right into that student and see whatever information is on the report. Here they can see, there's a bunch of tabs at the top that lets them filter by grade or the honor roll type. Here's a letter grade analysis. Again, this shows you, like, we can even spread it out beyond just the A's and B's. We've got the B's and minuses and the pluses, et cetera. And you can see at the top there's filters. This is actually for the teachers. So this is one of the math teachers at the high school. So what's really cool about this, and this teacher in particular asked for this feature, so they can also scroll down on that screen and they can see their list of students. So these are all his students and how what their grade is, what their percentage is in his class. And then over on the left is the hyperlink, so they can click on any of those students and see what they're doing in all their other classes. So it gives them insight into, is this student just struggling in my class, or are they struggling in all the classes? So that's just like all the other screens that we've seen with the hyperlinks. It would look just like this, where the original report there is on the left, but it's popped up another report on the right that is the drill down. So technically, early warning system is part of our MTSS package, but it really kind of lives in reality in analytics with us. But this is an example of what this would look like for the high school. So it gives them, the credit risk analysis, how many kids are at risk due to attendance or behavior. And then it has a summary at the bottom, so it's giving a point score for all of these and then showing, and then they're able to click into that to see what those students, who those students are, so that they can take action on it. So here are kids with credit risk analysis right now. So again, it gives them a lot of insight into what is happening here for these particular students. Here's a drill down on the summary. And again, you see, like over on the right here, it's giving you some color-coded cells based on the number to just make those jump out at you if they're unusual. So that is Synergy Analytics as it lives today. I've asked the Bodines to come here tonight and maybe share some thoughts on how it's helped them, hopefully. So.
No pressure. Okay. So I was going to go through a couple of these and how we use them real quick, just so you could kind of see. So this all grade analysis, you can see at the top it says by grade level, by department. So what our department chairs have been able to do is look at a particular course by teacher and see how their grades are doing. So if you have 3 world history teachers, for example, how are their grades looking in those classes? Is there one world history teacher that has very different grades? And so they can look at those quickly and have interventions with the teacher and say, hey, how's it going? What's going on with your grades? You have a lot of missing work. How can I help? And so we've been able to intervene quicker because we have more access to the data, and we're able to quickly look at and see where there might be issues with our grading practices. I'm jealous of the honor roll, so we're going to talk about that. But for our teachers, they can look and they can go by period, they can go by course. So this particular math teacher has 2 distinct courses. So he has a dual credit class and then a different class. And so he's able to look at his geometry classes separately from another class. So he can kind of look at that grade breakdown and kind of see how that is working. So he has quick access to anything he can do to analyze. They also have attendance dashboards. And so that's been really helpful for them to kind of correlate grades and attendance quickly. The early warning system has been super useful. This one is credits. You'll notice that the 858 don't have credits yet. Well, those are our freshmen, so they don't all have their credits defined yet. But we're able to, our counselors use this often to be able to look at, I need to meet with some sophomores and I have 300 kids in my roster. How do I know who I need to meet with first? So they are able to look at this and they can filter by themselves their counselor name, and they can quickly see who they need to work with and at what time. And then this other one here, you can see we've added multiple categories with 3,000 kids at the high school. If you only had 3 buckets, it would be 1,000 kids-ish in each one. So with having the 5 distinct categories, we can clearly see we have 30 high-risk, very high-risk kids at the high school. So we can quickly drill down on those kids and start working on with our interventionists and our counselors and our deans and get those interventions more quickly because we're easily able to identify those kids much easier now than we had before. Trent, you want to talk about your freshman learning center one?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for letting me come speak tonight. We all know, I know it's been talked about a lot of times in this meeting, in cabinet, and the high school, the significance of freshmen being on track to graduate when they matriculate from their freshman year to their sophomore year. And one of the biggest hurdles was collecting that data was taking hours and hours and hours of time. We were getting pieces of it here and pieces of it here, and then Allison was having to teach me how to do formulas in a spreadsheet to get it to do some wizardry so it had the information that I needed. So back in Kent's timeline, when he said we started talking, that was the first thing that we said. We need easy access to how do we know what freshmen on track. I think the one thing that really stands out for me with the analytics and the way that we're able to access now is it's real-time data. So we see some students that are struggling. We put together some interventions, and in 2 weeks from now, we can look at the data, and it's real-time gradebook. It's pulling real-time gradebook data from the students' teachers' gradebooks. Is the student passing? Is the student not? Because they're freshmen, we're looking at their course grades because they don't actually earn credits until the end of their first semester. So we're looking at gradebook grades. As of today, would they earn a credit based upon their grade? And we're able to say, okay, this student is passing all their classes, this student is failing 2 of their classes, so they're still on track because we really want them to have 10. This student is failing too many classes. So then we can put together some interventions, and then 2 weeks from now, we're able to see that data and see if our interventions have worked. In our previous iterations of programs that we went away from, it wasn't real-time data. It was data we were sending them. A lot of the data that we were pulling was only grade reporting time, so end of the first quarter, midterm. So now we're several weeks away from when we reported that. The data that I would be looking at was still the same data from 3 weeks ago, whereas now I can go sit down on my computer and I can see tonight what the freshman data looks like as of tonight in the teacher's gradebook. So it's really been useful, especially as we're looking at the freshmen on track, and then being able to sit down in our team meetings, and instead of spending time putting the data together, what are we doing about the data? That's where we're able to spend our time, what we're doing about the data, as opposed to just spending hours and hours and hours getting the data.
I just wanted to ask one question.
You can run fast.
No, run fast. In working with my niece, I noticed that kids tend to not do their assignments. And luckily, I learned how to do the parent portal to keep up with it. And when she come home, did you do your work? Yeah, I did it. Okay, let's look. No, you didn't. Okay. So I think that's the big problem, because if I had not checked behind her, oh my gosh, she would not have passed. So I had to stay up on it. Is there any way, when you see these kids are at risk, 9 times out of 10, they have a lot of missing assignments. Is there any way?
So that's one of the things we work with the teachers with, because some of it is a teacher tracking issue. So teachers have really great instructional strategies, but their operations management in their class and tracking that missing work. So that's one of the things the data has been allowed us to do, is kind of see teachers that have more Fs in their class and kind of work with them on what are their procedures and protocols and routines for gathering that missing work. I think Canvas in some regards has been great, but also sometimes you just submit it online and there's not that back and forth. Remember, you put the names of the kids who had the missing assignment on the board. So we've been working with our new teachers especially on some of those protocols and how they can work with kids to get that missing work in a more efficiently.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
You better move quickly, because I might have another question.
Ken's only halfway done with his presentation. We gotta let him finish.
Yeah, you know, my emotional support is coming up here, so, which is perfect for MTSS. Before we jump into MTSS, I'm famous for saying we know we're doing our job well when nobody notices us. So it's rewarding, right, when we do things like this for the technology department to get that kind of feedback. It's really motivating for us to, produce even more effective. So back to the board goals, these are things that help those students succeed better because someone is stepping in to help them with that. So.
And I would like to say, that's what I wanted to say before I said that. I think that is excellent, this what you have going, because you're able to monitor them, be able to see what they're doing across the classes, different classes, and sort of keep up with it. This is exactly what is going to help our students. So I think that is brilliant. Thank you so much. It's great.
You're welcome. The next part is equally important, more important to some students, actually. So I mentioned that to get the early warning system, which is at 9 o'clock on this dial, that's part of the MTSS package. So we decided to, we got this, let's just go ahead and start using the MTSS portion as well. Now, we couldn't do everything, and I'll show you similarly, right? We had December of last year, we had our official kickoff. December and January, we had our project management team look at demos and a selection of what modules we would pilot, because we knew we couldn't do all the other pieces of that pie that you saw on MTSS at one time. So February through May, we worked on just completing the surveys from Synergy on how we're going to use MTSS. Then we had training in July. The first session was just on MTSS plans, and the second session were the remaining modules that we decided to pilot. You can see here forms, check-in, check-out, minor incidents, and emotion tracking. Some of the challenges with this was complexity. This was a lot more difficult, I know, for me than I expected when we started it. So we went through a learning curve of just how does Synergy MTSS work so that we can tell them how we want it to work for us. And then, of course, anytime you're working with school staff, there's just a challenge to find times that work to get everybody together. So this is, when you meet with the Synergy MTSS team, they say it's simple. We just follow this roadmap. And we'll just, like, hell, it's this 1.5 hour webinar. This is another 1.5 webinar. Okay. And then they're like, well, here's actually what you're going to do. So the first step, it might take you 4 to 8 weeks. Oh my God, 8 weeks just to do step one. Yeah. So this is when my eyes were opening even more. To give you an idea, here is one of the surveys that we filled out. This is one tab on a spreadsheet. So I had to make the text pretty small to get it all in this slide.
It goes down further.
It does. We're very fortunate that we're not in Allison's office, so she doesn't have access to her stapler because she likes to throw it at my head for suggesting we do some of that we do some of this. So I referenced back in analytics. Hey, where do you see the MTSS project team? So here it is. We had 3 folks from EduPoint. We had our core project management team, Allison, Todd Gehring again, sitting in the back, and myself. And you think you're going to say to yourself, well, that's about the same size as the analytics team. Now, this was the team, right? So a lot more people. So it became a lot more complex to have all the meetings and figure out how this is going to work. And it wasn't like we told them, hey, plug in 1 here and 3 here and 5 here and we're ready to go. There was a lot of back and forth with the EduPoint folks to get this correct. So I mentioned before, this is just right inside Synergy. Teachers can see it in Teacher View. Our staff can see it in their navigation tree on the SIS side. And here is an example of the things that they can select. And again, not all of these are being used at every school. We're piloting these, many of them in just certain schools or grades. So what I pulled up some example views here of what an MTSS plan would look like. So like at this particular school, there's 6 plans. I picked one out so you can see how it's showing for this particular student at Eastridge. It's got some summary information here on the right. What are the issues? Here's the plan that was created, so high-level information there. One of the things is the area of concern. In this particular place, it's reading. The learning gap is decoding. The intervention is UFLI, which is what? UFLI. So that's right. Thank you, Mrs. Griffin, for poking fun of me. So you can see the staff that's involved in this particular plan, documents that have been uploaded for this. So it's all in one place. A lot of this existed in schools already, but they were Google Sheets, Google Drives, different forms at different schools. So this gets it all in one place and consistency across the district. They can quickly come in and see here, they could record an outcome, but they can just come in and see also at a glance monitor the progress of this. Now, we're still early in this, right? We've gone through 1 quarter, so there's a lot more to come here with all of this. You may certainly add.
So these are our plans for individual students that we've identified that are struggling with something. So whether it be math, reading, behavior, attendance. And so these used to live on paper, on spreadsheets. That screen you saw a few minutes ago with the people's faces on it, what's great is that if I have a plan for a student and they have an ML teacher and they have the general ed teacher and the counselor that are involved, they can all have access to the plan. If the student moves from one building to another, that plan can stay active. These plans can be written for one student or groups of students. So I was looking through them today, and one teacher had a couple students in her class that were struggling with the same math skill, so they created a plan for them, and one of those students also had a reading goal. One of the things we really wanted to get to, and this has helped us, that big giant spreadsheet that you saw with all the parts, was targeting exactly what the students need. So when we're making a plan because they're struggling to read, we need to know what the skill that they're stuck on so we can provide an intervention that is evidence-based and specific for that skill. So we worked with Kate and the teaching and learning team to make sure that interventions that were put in here match the need. So we're being really smart about the goals and the interventions that we're putting in place for the students. So we're really excited to see this start, and we have most of our elementary schools that are already using and have multiple plans in their buildings.
Thank you. Yeah, so when I created this, we had 42 students. I'm sure it's higher now, 36 with active plans. And you can see a few schools that have multiple students. Pleasant Run has the most students, and then Lakeside and Eastridge. So I mentioned there were some other things that we are piloting. Forms is one, so you can see the forms that we have in here. And again, these existed. They just existed in different forms at each school. So this gets them all in one place, consolidates them, consistent forms across the district. We're going to, should be beginning now, piloting the check-in, check-out process at Lowell. Also minor incidents, so at the high school, we're piloting minor incidents, so we don't necessarily need a referral for everything that goes wrong, so this allows them to just enter a minor incident. And you can see a list there of minor incidents, and we've had, at the time of me creating this, about 1,200 incidents entered. We're doing a 6th grade pilot on emotion tracking, so the students, when they log into Student View, it'll pop up and say, how are you feeling? And this is being captured at, you can see Creston, Raymond Park, and Stony Brook. So this will all start to ramp up as we go through the school year as well. How are you feeling tonight, Allison?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited. What's cool about the emotion tracker is the students input how they're feeling for that day, and then it shows up on that teacher's seating chart. So we had a training over fall break with a group of 6th grade teachers to pilot this. The check-in, check-out is in alignment with our PBIS. It's a Tier 2 intervention. So what's great and a challenge that we've struggled with for many years is you have a student who has an MTSS plan, they're in check-in and check-out, they're seeing the counselor, and those all live in separate places. So when we're talking about students and how they're doing, we have to look lots of places. Well, now we can just look in Synergy. A teacher can go in and say, oh, the students in check-in and check-out, oh, they have a plan. Oh, look, they were sad today. I need to go check in with them. And so everything living in one place is just making us more efficient and making the data more real time.
It comes with its own reporting. It's going to look just like we saw in analytics. I can click on these bars and see the detail behind them. I won't go through all of these, but you can see different options here broken down by grade. Here's the interventions. Over here in the blue, Mrs. Griffin, is UFly. It breaks it down by the groups and any programs that we have as well. You can also drill in and see, the numbers here broken out by demographics, and you can drill through these. So any of these numbers in blue I can click on, I can see who the students are, I can see information about them. So that is Synergy MTSS. Any questions for Mrs. Woods?
Yeah, I wasn't going to ask this question, but I guess I got to. You showed this attendance stuff, a bunch of attendance stuff earlier in the TV.
Teacher view, yeah.
What's the difference between that and help me understand this, and Raptor?
Rowie.
Yeah, do you mean Raptors are check-in at the schools? You mean RAWE, which is the attendance system?
I mean, is there some compatibility there? Are we being redundant in these processors? What's happening there?
No, so RAWE gets updated each night from Synergy, so it's the same data flowing over, but it has other functionality built into it, like the letters that get created, emails.
The reports so for example, in order for Rowie to work, for us to be able to put interventions in place and see what our most current attendance is, teachers need to take attendance. So for example, that report that they have access to for their missing attendance then feeds our, if attendance is not taken, then we can't determine what intervention students need. So that helps them be able to have the accurate attendance for us to be able to respond to. Raptor is that visitor management piece of when you're signing visitors in and out of the building.
I screwed that up.
Okay, that's okay.
Talking about Raptor.
Yeah.
I guess it was Rowie.
Right, yeah, so our attendance data lives in Rowie, and there are some reports that they've built. So for example, that 90 students, or 90% at 90%, that Dr. Hansen set a goal for us on, that isn't specified in Rowie. So Kent and his team built that for us. But Rowie has more of the interventions assigned with it, sending the letters, documenting the interventions, and things like that. So there's not really a lot of overlap. We need one in order for the other to work both ways.
Okay, so since there's no overlapping, you got two systems there that talks about attendance.
Yeah, well, they talk to each other. So I take attendance in Synergy, and that data then goes to Rowie so we can do something about our attendance.
It's also helpful because not everybody has access to RAWE, but everybody has access to Synergy, so the teachers can just see the attendance. So we're working on, I showed the grades for those students. For the teacher, he could drill in and see that. We're adding in attendance information so the teachers they can see, like, hey, this is still in progress, but this student's missing my class a lot. is it just my class, or are they missing a lot of other classes too? So they'll be able to see periodic, this particularly at the high school then, like, oh, it's not just my period 6 class that this student is missing. They're also missing a lot. Or the students here, periods 1 through 5 and period 7, or I guess it's period 1 through 3 and maybe not period 4 with the block scheduling, they're only missing my class. We better have a discussion about that, right? So just to give them more insight into it. So that wouldn't be something that would be at the fingertips through WAWE for a teacher. So it's sort of belt and suspenders, right, for us to make sure we've got it covered.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Allison. So I just want to go over some key points about this. So as I mentioned, I really believe it directly supports the board goals, really all of them eventually. I see that happening. It just provides unified access to a bunch of data, both instructional and for student support. You know, as I mentioned, it's combining data dashboards and MTSS tools at a comparable cost to the alternatives that we looked at. Teachers and administrators now have direct role-based access. I talked about that to real-time. That's the 3rd time tonight we've said real-time student data within the SIS. We've had some early wins, including automated attendance tracking, the grade analysis, and identification of at-risk students. And then again, our staff, our technology staff, we're just increasingly able to build and customize these dashboards for our staff. And I'm really excited about expanding this down to especially the middle schools, because as I mentioned, as we get these high school reports solid and really usable, they're going to make a lot of sense, especially at 7th and 8th grade for those middle schools. So just in conclusion, it's really proving to be a powerful platform. It's going to help us make data-driven decisions, monitor students, and provide interventions. The ease of access, cost efficiency, and provides that integrated functionality that the prior systems lacked. We're still in the early stages, as I've mentioned before, but I think we're well positioned to really have Synergy Analytics and MTSS provide significant value for us and our teachers, especially as we really mature through this process. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'll be even happier to call any of my friends back up. If not, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, Mr. Clayton, you have many items. We're going to begin with enrollment management and redistricting update.
I'm gonna need the whole audience to join me for my presentation.
He will not be taking questions.
All right, President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, and to our Warren community, I want to provide an update on our enrollment management and redistricting initiative. And before I jump into this, I think it's important every time many of us have an opportunity to talk about this initiative, just to, again, reiterate that the work we are doing right now is anchored in our unwavering commitment to our school community. In other words, we don't want our community to feel like that our work is what I would say happening to the community. We want to remind our community that this work is happening with you, with the community. It's a collaboration. It's a bedrock of our planning, ensuring that every decision reflects the values and the needs of our students and families and staff. And as one of our 5 strategic focus and board focuses areas outline. So with the brief time I have providing this update, what I will touch on is how we've integrated that feedback and how we plan on using that as part of our focus groups. Also, our representative planning through our focus groups, the diversity amongst those groups in terms of the stakeholders that will be involved in that process. And then also, finally, our plans to continue or remain remain continuous in our engagement with the community. As we always talk about, our initiative is anchored in our board and strategic plan focus, ensuring invest in our academic excellence and student achievement. We're going to ensure we have balanced resources and equitable class sizes across all elementary schools to support high quality instruction. We're going to reintegrate, our plan is to reintegrate the 5th grade students back into elementary schools to provide a developmentally appropriate K through 5 structure. I had a conversation this afternoon with our demographer, our firm from Woolpert, and just in the information that we provided, which I'll touch on that here shortly, based on what they've received thus far from our 9 elementary schools. They've had meetings this week with all 9 of our elementary principals. Right now, tentatively, they believe that we will be able to move our 5th graders back in terms of just the space that we have, and still capacity-wise, we'll have some space to potentially grow. Thanks, Tierney. Tierney provided some information too, so that may adjust the number as well. So right now, so far, so good. Also, utilizing staff expertise during our planning focus groups to consider the impact of scheduling location changes and on our teachers and administrators. That falls in our people, and we'll continue to prioritize community feedback, as I mentioned, neighborhood continuity and family schedules, which was reflected in our feedback, but that falls under our invest in family and community engagement. And finally, continue to optimize our facility usage and transportation logistics. And again, you will see how that coincides with our focus groups. So as many of you know, and appreciate your attendance and involvement in this process, we successfully hosted 3 community conversations back in September, right before break. And on those 3 days, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, we were at Creston, Stony Brook, and Raymond Park Intermediates. And we had well over 150 people that attended all 3 sessions, and we successfully collected 134 unique email addresses for future communications and updates. And I'll talk about the feedback from those sessions, as well as the feedback that's ongoing in terms of what we provide and offer on our website. But some of the feedback and the input focused on the 4 key areas, if you recall, the questions that were prepared for that discussion. So let's talk a little bit about the feedback. Starting off with elementary school balance / redistricting. And this is a summary of the feedback that we receive and input. Prioritize student proximity to their neighborhood. And again, this is coming from our parents and some of our students that participate in this process and staff. But prioritizing student proximity to their neighborhood, school, keeping established neighborhoods together. Consider balancing enrollment by both student numbers and socioeconomic racial equity. There is a desire to avoid changes, with some recommending the district take a look at the out-of-district process. Next, under moving 5th grade back to elementary, some of the feedback we received, and just overall, there was support for the move, citing the need for developmentally appropriate learning environments. There was concerns centered on elementary building capacity and space, which I briefly addressed, and we'll provide more information over the upcoming weeks as far as what those exact capacity study will reveal. The need for adequate staffing and resources in providing a grandfathering option or stability for current 4th graders that want to stay in their school. School start and end times was one of the questions we asked around that. This topic generated various responses, often linked to family logistics. Some parents want to keep the current times. Others suggested having high school start earlier, which I don't know how they can start any earlier, but others suggested having high school start earlier to allow older siblings to provide after-school care, or starting high school and middle school later to align with adolescent sleep research. The need to accommodate working parents' schedules and childcare availability was also a major concern, as we know. And then with our high ability and specialized programs, a strong desire to have the high ability program offered in every elementary school. That was a winner. To avoid busing students and to create dedicated classroom at each site. Ensure that all elementary schools have equal access to resources and programs like dual language immersion, that they are balanced and protected. Any questions on the feedback that we received thus far? And again, we're still collecting feedback and we'll continue to collect feedback through our website and every time we have our community engagement and focus group opportunities. Okay, a brief update on our demographic study. We have successfully completed the first round of submittals to Wolpert. They provided a worksheet to us early on in the process. We had 15 to 20 items, information data points. Thank Dr. Hanson, members of our cabinet, Kent, for providing that information so they can start their analysis and start putting together those projections. So some of the information that we provided really kind of fell in three buckets: facility information, capacity inventory. Our building leaders, elementary building leaders, provided support in that area. Our floor plans, our operations team provided that. Our facility inventory, square footage, and any recent renovations. Enrollment data. They wanted to look at historical data, district data, wide enrollment, K through 12, student potential analysis, and then as well as the residential developmental data. And then academic and program data, and that was part of the phone call that I facilitated the last couple of days between our building leaders and Wolpert. Specifically, once we provided the floor plans and our building leaders were able to fill in the blank in terms of how are we using this space, they just had some questions around that. And I'll just kind of give you an example. Since we moved our fifth graders to the intermediate schools 15 years ago, obviously that created more space in our elementary schools. And some of those rooms now, which in the past were classrooms, are used for other purposes. So, as we had that conversation, our building leaders were really good in terms of, well, yeah, we use this for resource, we use this for pullout, but now this could easily be transitioned back into, a classroom. So those one-on-one conversations in terms of building usage are essential to this process and will help us identify the true capacity and space that we will need in making that transition, as well as the space for high ability, special education, and DLI. So part of the next steps in this process is putting together our focus groups. This is something that we've discussed, we share with our community. We invited them to be a part of this. So as we put this together, we developed some criteria in terms of what do we want these focus groups to look like, what do we want them to consist of, and what type of diversity in terms of representation, what should that look like? So what we are identifying is expertise, whether it's staff, administrators, community members with direct knowledge of the individual focus group. For example, it would make most sense if we have a transportation focus group that we have members of our transportation team as a part of that, as well as parents, drivers, and other people that work closely with that. Geographic representation, and this is very specific. The example I gave is with our boundaries. When we're talking school boundaries, which, by the way, will probably be one of the more, I would say, spirited conversations, just because that can have a direct effect on where students and where families go to school. But in composing that committee, we want to ensure that we have representation, at least two parent representatives from every single elementary school will be a part of that committee. So we want to make sure that every single parent representative, that every single school has a voice and will be part of that committee. So that's what we mean by geographic representation, as well as staff that that represent those schools as well. Role diversity, inclusion of parents, caregivers, teachers, building administrators, and central office staff. Programmatic insight, again, inclusion of those staff and parents connected to specialized programs. We want high ability parents. We want teachers. We want teachers and parents associated with our special education programs, as well as our dual language immersion. And then continue that district-wide focus, ability to review data and prioritize the best long-term outcome for the entire MSD of Warren Township. So again, going back to a group that will work specifically with school boundaries, we want to make sure in working with Wolpert that we provide that group with the necessary data around, okay, exactly where our families are located in reference to where the nearest school is located. What should we be thinking about transportation-wise? What does that look like? But in order to make some of those more challenging decisions, we'll need the data to support that focus. So again, this is kind of a breakdown of our committees, and right now we have 7 to 8. Some of our committees will be combined. For example, we probably can combine school boundaries as well, or with transportation, because they kind of speak to the same thing. But again, you see 5th grade transition, enrollment management, school boundaries, which again can be combined with transportation. Our special programs, as I mentioned, high ability dual language, transportation, invest in people, 6 through 8 innovation is a key area. And as we mentioned, some of the feedback that we received, school start and end times. So again, we will roll out 7 to 8 focus group areas. And board, please feel free if you feel like there's something that we're missing or something we need to consider. We're definitely open to suggestions. I think the key thing is making sure that, you know, as I laid out, that we fill these focus group areas with our community members, with staff members. We want to make sure that we're very inclusive in terms of the individuals that will have voice in this and stakeholders in the decision making that we'll make moving forward. Next steps. So timeline-wise, starting now, we are starting to receive some information from Wolpert in terms of the projections. These will be key as we prepare to schedule meeting times for our focus groups. And our enrollment management process and the data that we receive will be critical for that. So and as a cabinet, we met on Tuesday, yesterday, and we talked about the focus groups and the members from our cabinet that will serve as leads. So we're already kind of starting that process, and then we will set those dates and times as well. As we enter November here, and a little bit over a week, we look to start kicking off those focus group work sessions. And our group leads will take lead in that process as well in terms of setting that up. We'll kind of set a window of when those meetings need to take place and to ensure that we're consistent in terms of the process. Again, as we go through November, we'll develop those initial, again, this is all predicated on receiving information back from our demographers. We'll start to develop those boundary options and logistics plans. And again, these will go through the focus groups, and they will be discussed amongst the members in those focus groups to talk about school boundaries, the transportation, and other enrollment aspects. You know, as we get towards the holiday, towards mid-November, we want to start, you know, making sure that our focus groups have met. Right now, we're looking at a minimum of 2 to 3 times for them to engage and meet with each other to discuss and follow up on certain items. But we want to start getting some of those preliminary findings before the end of November. As we get to late November, December, we want to start put together draft options of some of the findings that we have and start to communicate that to the board. December, we want to gather and review final community feedback. So we want to go back and re-engage the community at this point and make sure that we kind of provide them with just kind of an idea of the feedback that we've not only received, but also some of the information and ideas that have come from our focus groups, just to get another round of feedback from our community. And then ideally, January, we're looking to have a plan, approval, some options that we can present to the board for a final decision. So those are our next steps. And again, we are, intently aggressive in terms of this process, but understand that our primary objective, as I said at the very beginning, is to make sure that this is a collaborative effort. We want to make sure, and if we have to, pull some things back in terms of just a timeline, we're more than willing to do that, because again, this is a school community process more than anything else. We want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. We want everyone to know what's next. We want to make sure they know when the opportunities will present themselves to be a part of this process.
Will we get an outline of when the focus groups meet? You said you wanted everybody to know, so how will you get that out to people so they'll be knowledgeable?
Yeah, we'll continue to work through, with Dr. Hanson, through Logan, through our community, I'm sorry, our district communications team, to help facilitate that, which that's what we've kind of taken advantage of here the last few months through this process. We've sent it out. Dr. Hanson sends this weekly communication out. We've put information in newsletters. We actually are going to put information in newsletters in terms of the focus groups and how parents can become a part of that process. So we'll continue to use our district communication channels.
The reason I asked that question, because I noticed on there you said October and early November. Well, we're into the end of October and going into early November.
Right.
So when is that information going to get out so that it can be put on the calendar?
So we just had a meeting yesterday, and right now, Dr. Hanson and myself will work with our communications team to get those out. 2-week fall break doesn't help, right? Doesn't help, but just understand that we're on it, Ms. Williams, and we're going to get that information out.
Marcus, did you say tomorrow? Did you say tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow, as soon as this meeting's over with.
All right. There was some intentionality about waiting until tonight. They'll go in as soon as Friday's newsletters.
Okay, good.
Okay, construction.
Don't be put Marcus under the gun. Marcus, if it's not reality tomorrow, don't let Miss Square put you under the gun, because then she's going to be calling me.
At least tomorrow. I mean, it'll go out Friday in school newsletters.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to know, because if most parents, if they're like me, I have a lot on my calendar and I need to, put it in on my calendar. And if you wait to the last minute, I might have something else. And this is so important. So that's why I said it's very important that they get that, because we're really at the last minute almost right now.
And I think this was mentioned at, one of the board meetings, but I think those of us that are anchored in the community, I think word of mouth is going to be just as essential as well, because I think part of this as well, yes, we want them to be involved in terms of the public engagements that we have, and we had that with over 150, but right now we want them involved in the process. We want them to be on the committees. And again, I know we all know people within the community that could serve and do a great job and has genuine concern in terms of the direction of this process. So I would encourage everyone to, if you know someone, tap them on the shoulder, and we'll get that information out so we can get them signed up.
Yeah, and just a reminder, Marcus and I met yesterday when we asked our community members who attended the engagements. We asked them to identify if they were interested in being on focus groups. So we already have a list of warm leads that we'll reach out to them and say, hey, you expressed interest. Would you be interested in one of these focus groups? So we'll reach out to them as well.
134 emails collected, so we'll utilize those emails for this process.
You said tomorrow, right?
Well,
okay.
Trying to get it on.
Friday, we will prepare the language tomorrow to go out on Friday.
Well, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
It's in reference to what you said earlier. You said that you're still getting material or information in, feedback and that sort of stuff.
Yes, sir.
But it looked like you already got a plan for when you're going to get these focus groups together. What was I trying to get to? The fact that you're still getting this data in, isn't it a little bit? I'll tell you what. When are you going to stop getting feedback and start moving forward with your selection of your focus group? I'll tell you what it looks like to me. You wouldn't move forward with a focus group until you know you got everything you need for that focus group to be successful. You got more stuff coming in, and you're saying we're going to have 5 guys on the focus group, or I don't know how many guys in that. And then all of a sudden you get this deluge of more information in, and it looks like you're going to need 7 people. You know what I'm getting at?
Yes.
At some point, it looks like you have to stop it and say, hey, this is the information we're going to go with. Now let's put together a focus group that will be able to satisfy collecting that data, analyzing that data, and coming out with another report that says, hey, we got the answer.
I think that's a great question.
And so what I'm saying is that you said you got this stuff coming in.
Correct.
We're talking about late October, and then we're just October, November kind of a thing. I just think you're rushing some stuff through here, and something's got to give. So that's what I'm looking at now.
So
I think you need to stop at some point and then put your focus group together and then move forward with the rest of your plan. Just me.
So and that's a great question. I just to kind of go back, we've been collecting feedback for well over a month now. We started this process, if you recall, at the last board meeting. We talked about we had just launched we put the information on the website in terms of not only the process in terms of what we were initiating, but also that's what helped us get folks out to the meeting, the 3 meetings that we hosted. We also shared at that time that we already had well over 100 respondents going into that first meeting on September 22nd. So we've had that window open for a long time. What I would say is this, Mr. Dorsey, is that we want to ensure that our community, because some of our community, they won't wake up to what we're doing until today or next week. Wait a minute, is that happening? So we want to make sure that we provide opportunities for that feedback to be ongoing. Now, will we still move forward with our conversations and meetings? Will we still be open to that feedback as part of that focus group, those focus groups? Absolutely. I think as we approach and we get towards the end of November somewhere, that's probably where we'll kind of, have a set direction in terms of where we're going. But I want our community members that will be late to this process to still feel like they have an avenue to channel whatever their thoughts and opinions are about that process, while at the same time inviting them to be a part of the process and participate in our focus groups. So that's why I'm hesitant to want to cut it off too soon, but yet keep the process going, because I want to make sure that they feel like they have those opportunities open still.
Okay. Well, okay, that's fine. I just think you got to be firm with the doors closed. Now, I know you're going to get some feedback, you will get some pushback or some blowback or something, but people are going to it doesn't matter. People are going to complain and act
Absolutely
crazy regardless. I think you need to have the defined drop dead date, and then you move forward from that. Those folks that were not or still thinking about it or maybe haven't gotten it to you, sorry, we're done. We got to move forward. I think you have to do that. Now, I know some people are going to get upset about that. Some people are going to say, well, Dorsey, you should be more sensitive to that. No, I'm not sensitive. You need to cut it off at some point and then move forward, and then take the blowback later on.
Okay, we can do that.
That's just me.
I just want to say something in reference to when we had our town hall meetings, you had the dates, all 3 days. And everybody was able to come, those that were.
Yes.
There may have been some people that weren't able to attend those meetings. Is it possible for you to also put dates for the focus groups? Because there may be parents that weren't able to come to the town hall meetings that would love to be a part of the focus group. Because
Yes.
even myself, I would want to be a part of it, but I have no clue when you guys are planning it. So I just wanted to be clear so that if there are parents and people in the community that still want to participate, that they will have access to being a part of the focus group, just like they were the town hall meetings. And even personnel and administrators, give us an opportunity to be a part of it. So I just needed to be clear when those dates are, just like we did the town hall meetings, so that everybody can be involved if they choose to.
Will do.
Thank you. And that's why I said it need to be done quickly, because if we're talking about end of October, November, we're really late in getting that information out.
Yeah, and also understand that some of that is contingent on the information, the data we're receiving back from our demographer. So in other words, if we're talking about school boundaries, it's kind of hard to facilitate that conversation if we don't have the updated data in terms of, our student population, where they reside, what shifts have taken place in the last 15 years. Some of that is, now there are conversations that we can have based on the feedback we received about it, but and that's why we say 2 to 3 times per focus group to meet, just in the event that we have new information that comes in that will factor into the proposal they'll put together.
Have they given that to you already?
The only thing, the only thing that we've received at this point is a tool for our website, and that's just a school locator.
Oh, okay.
But
so we don't have any of the demographics yet.
we do not. The closest thing that we have right now that they're still receiving some information, just some one-on-one conversations I have with our building leaders, is a capacity study. What we've put an emphasis on, Ms. French, is the capacity study, because we have to know and ensure that we can fit the 5th graders back. Because without that, it's a whole different conversation. So that's been the objective, is to get those back.
I'm with you on that. The capacity thing is what you need to settle on.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Well, with that, let's go to the construction update so we can keep moving.
All right. All right. President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, I'm going to present to you October's construction update. And just a reminder, we're nearing the end of this 6-year journey that we've been on. So I would ask you to approve new construction projects soon, because if not, we're going to be canceled. Even though we are syndicated, because we got about 4 seasons in, so you'll be able to catch some reruns. But you need to approve some construction projects, or we won't have any more construction updates.
It's fall here in the Warrior Nation, and we are back here at Warren Central High School for the final and the official tour of the brand new Larry Willen locker room. President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, and to our entire Far East Side community, welcome to the October edition of Inside Warren. Our goal continues to be to invest in safety and operational efficiency. So for the past year, we have continued to give you previews and updates on the new Larry Willen locker room. But today, we finally get a chance to look at the finished product. So sit back, relax, and let's head in and welcome to another edition of Inside Warren.
All right, we're inside the Larry Willen locker room, and the first display we want to show you is the dedication to the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Larry Willen. And what we wanted to do was provide a description of all of his accomplishments during his 50-plus years here in Warren Township, but specifically, as you can see, his Bumblebee shirt, those rings, and again, just talking about, his legacy goes back to the 1960s. Again, he was here for over 50 years. So right next to the display, we have this portrait of
not only the infamous Bumblebee shirt, and if you don't know about the significance of the Bumblebee shirt, this shirt was first worn by Coach Willen as well as the Warren Central coaching staff in 1984. That was our first state championship game. At that time, it was Class 5A downtown at the old Hoosier Dome. But the coaching staff wore these shirts in the 1980s. And not only did Coach Willen wear this shirt for that 1984 state championship, but also in '85. But then what makes this shirt even more significant, all 9 of our state championships that Warren Central High School has won in football, he wore this shirt, this Bumblebee shirt, and that includes our last state championship in 2018. So this was something that we wanted to make sure that we encase, that we put this at the entry. So the thousands and thousands of student athletes that will walk through these doors will not only understand and learn about Coach Willen, but they'll understand the significant impact that he made on this community. So one of the, what I would say, biggest attractions of this new facility is the Tradition Never Graduates Pride of the East Side wall here. This is where we house 8 out of our 9 state championships. The 9th state championship from 2018 is actually housed indoors in our Hall of Fame. But our previous 8 state championships are all located here in the locker room. And why is this display important? One thing that you can't pay for, the one thing that you can't create, and that is tradition. Our tradition speaks for itself. 9 state championships, 9-0 in those state championship games. And when, again, our student athletes walk through here, regardless of what sport they play, if they're a middle school, youth league student, we want them to understand the greatness that has come before them and the challenge of what contribution are you going to make during your 4 years here? Can you put another trophy on the wall? At this time, we'll take a look right across from our state championships, our 3 Mr. Football winners. Starting off, and we'll kind of go in reverse order. Believe it or not, our last Mr. Football winner was almost 20 years ago. A young man that I coached by the name of Darren Evans in 2006. He rushed for over 3,000 yards, 62 touchdowns, full ride scholarship to Virginia Tech, and played a few years in NFL with the Colts and the Titans. So Darren is one of the greatest Warrior football players of all time. Dexter Taylor in 2005 not only rushed for over 2,000 yards at the quarterback position, but he also threw for over 1,000 yards. Had a phenomenal game in the state championship game that year, but most importantly, Dexter is one of 2 now. He was one of 1 for a while, but to win as a starting quarterback back-to-back 5A/6A state championships. So he's one of our all-time winners, but he led us to back-to-back state championships in 04-05. Probably one of our most known and most popular Warren Central athletes of all time, but Mr. Desmond Tardy. Desmond in 2003 led a very talented Warren Central football team to our first state championship out of the 4 in a row we won, but it was our first one since 1985. Okay, part of our history and tradition is to, again, ensure that we're able to showcase the great players that have come before us. And starting with our All-Americans, again, we are very blessed here on the Far East Side, Warren Central High School. We have 9 high school All-Americans, starting off with Jeff George, who Jeff was the actual National Player of the Year, USA Today National Player of the Year in 1985. But as you can see, he was a first-team All-American his junior and senior year, and he was also a parade All-American. Well, we also have our Mr. Football position winners. And as you can see, what makes this list so unique, Warren Central High School is the only football program in the history of state of Indiana to have a Mr. Football Award winner at every position. That's offensive line, that's tight end, that's running back, that's quarterback, that's defensive line, linebacker, defensive back. And in 2022, Elijah Slyback won Mr. Football at the position of kicker to round out our list. So we're very proud of this. And as you can see, if you go back to the history of Warren Central football, which our program started in 1937. So if we put every single football player since 1937 that played college football, we would have to build an entirely new facility. So what we did is we just added the players, the former players that played Division 1A football. So as you can see, going back to 1964 with Gunners Danielson, who was also Marion County Athlete of the Year, all the way to 2025. And this is, again, this is something that gives our kids something to strive for. We're very proud of this list, and we will put this list up against any other school in the state, because you're talking about guys that played not only at the college level, but many of which made it to the NFL. Our North-South All-Star, which every year the Indiana Coaches Association, Football Coaches Association, they sponsor a statewide All-Star game, and this is a record of all of our South All-Stars. Probably the toughest all-state football team to make is the Indiana Football Coaches Association Top 50 list. This is regardless of class. That's classes 1A through 6A. They select the top 50 players combined, each class. So as you can see, the number of players that we've had since 1994 make this list just in the 30 years of this recognition. And again, I would venture to say that Warren Central, if we don't have the most, I would say we're probably near the top. All right, our final display is the Warriors in the pros. And why this is so significant, it's significant for a number of reasons, but as you can see, going back to 1972, our first Warren Central Warrior football player, Scott Yelvington, was drafted and played for the Chicago Bears, and then you see Jeff George in 1986, Jamie Asher, and Justin Smith in the 1990s. But just to give you an idea of just how successful Warren Central football has been since the turn of the century, since 2000, from 2000 to 2025, as we've already mentioned, we've won 7 state championships, numerous conference, sectional, regional, semi-state championships, but most notably, we've had 15 Warren Central football players make NFL rosters since 2000. So it wouldn't be a locker room without lockers. So at this time, we're going to take a quick look at the freshman football side, but actually in the spring, it will be the home of our varsity, JV, and freshman baseball team. And then on the other side of the locker room, you will see the varsity and JV football lockers. Let's go. I don't know why he shot the restroom, but for your amusement, the restroom. And finally, last but not least, one of the best student-athlete training rooms in the state of Indiana. Again, we walked through when there was dirt on the floor, and then we had some drywall up. Now we have the finished product, and we are so happy to serve thousands of student-athletes that come in here year in and year out. And I know our athletic trainers are excited about this new space, so let's take a look at it. We want to thank you for joining us for the tour of the new Larry Willen locker room. This project took a little bit over a year, but the opportunity to bring this to our community, bring this to the campus, Warren Central High School. Again, we want to thank our superintendent, we want to thank our school board, we want to thank our partners from Powers & Sons and our architects from CSO on this project, and most importantly, our branding team from Section 127, Sport Graphics. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to serve you here on the East Side. And just like it says, we are the pride of the East Side. We will catch you next time inside Warren.
Marcus, I have to say, when I'm going through all my material for these meetings, I always watch this ahead of time, so it is a rerun for me already. And the only thing I haven't done yet is binge watched. So we
Okay.
have to host a party and have a binge watching party of these movies.
You hear that, Logan? We're moving up.
Make our own Emmys for you.
Thank you.
Saw the before and after, so it's great. Took our tour.
Okay. Mr. Humphries, do we have any yellow cards?
No, Madam President, we do not.
Okay. With that, we are going to move on to action items. And Mr. Russell.
All right. Good evening, President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. Tonight I have, I believe, four policies for action. Went over all of these last month, and I will note that one in particular one is off of this one, so that one wasn't included, the one that we had some more specific discussion over. So I'll do these one by one, so if there's any individual questions, but we'll start off with policy 2221, mandatory curriculum. This time I would ask for your approval.
So moved.
I will second.
Is there any discussion? Sorry, hearing and seeing none. The vote came up. I apologize. Okay, and the motion carries. Next policy.
All right, next policy is policy 2623, student assessment. This is the one that updates all policy related to the new regulations around IRE 3 for second grade and third grade students. Seek your approval at this time.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's Irene.
This is the one that updates the language about I read and then also includes the mathematics portion at the bottom. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll go to a vote. And the motion carries.
All right, next we have policy 5222, release time during school activities mandated by law. This one's related, not the same. The next policy, 5223, we'll talk about release time for religious instruction. 5222 just adds a component of release time for any other thing that would not be considered religious. So just provide some equity in that. Again, seeking approval for 5222 at this time.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Gloria and Julie. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll go to the vote.
Thank you. Last but not least is policy 5223, which I just referenced. This is release time for religious instruction, which provides under the right conditions, which are all listed in the policy, that high school students can earn up to 2 elective credits for released time religious instruction. Seeking your approval at this time.
Do we have a motion? Thank you, Gloria. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And thank you, Terry. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to a vote.
Thank
And the
you.
motion carries. Ms. Woods. Do we need to bring Kent up just in case you need a?
Go for emotional support, maybe.
Okay.
President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, I have five policies. The first one is policy 2410 about audio, video, and digital recordings of meetings. This is just stating that we do allow a parent to audio record an IEP meeting. We also do that. So this is adding language that we cannot prohibit that. It gives some guidance for other meetings, so parent-teacher conferences, 504 meetings, and then also we don't allow video recordings of meetings or conferences, student conferences, unless a parent or participant is hearing impaired and needs that for record later.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept the policy?
So moved.
Okay. I've got Julie is making the motion and Gloria is seconding it. Sorry. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to a vote. Motion carries. Next up.
Next is attendance policy 5200, and this is with legislative updates. So adding some additional excused absences around FFA, 4-H, armed forces, religious instruction. We're required to categorize excused absences. Now adding some definitions, preventing suspension or expulsion solely because a student is chronically absent or habitual truant, and then changing some of the requirements around attendance conferences and prevention with just days and grade levels included in that.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Got Julia making the motion and LaShawna seconding it. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I want to ask, did you say they would be expelled?
No.
Due to chronic absence?
No, we are not allowed to expel due to chronic absence. So it's adding language in here. We cannot suspend or expel for that. So that's adding that language in. And we did not do that previously, but it's now in legislation.
Okay, great.
Okay, with that, we'll go to the vote. And the motion carries. And then we're going to do the next one as a group, I think?
Yep, the next ones are group 5600, 5605, and 5610. All three include language, just as the last one, about that we cannot suspend or expel solely because a student's chronically absent or habitual truant. And then 5610 also adds that we are not notifying the BMV of expulsions or suspensions. So those are all similar in what we're adding, again, due to that same legislation.
I was trying to triple, so move that we accept 5600, 5605, and 5610.
Thank you. LaShawna, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Terry. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And that carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Anderson.
Good evening.
This is good night.
It really is good night.
We can get there.
President Burke, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, I bring to you tonight 2 policies for your approval. The first policy is Policy 5517, and it is anti-harassment. It does identify our Title IX officers, and it also, we are leaving in the language of unlawful harassment based on gender status, sexual orientation, and gender identity. I would like to ask for your approval for that, for this policy.
What did you say the last part? Your voice is lower.
I'm sorry. We are going to leave in the language of sexual harassment based on, unlawful harassment based on gender status, sexual orientation, and/or gender identity. They had recommended that we take it out, but we decided to leave it in.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Julie. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Terry. Any discussion?
Okay, so when you said they, are you saying the law requires?
No, Neola, and they just give us recommendations. So it is not unlawful for us to leave it in. They just give us recommendations, and we can take or deny.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion carries.
The second policy I bring to you tonight is Board Policy 5517. It is on bullying, and the only major revision to this policy is the timeline change for the victim and alleged perpetrator of bullying. They will be contacted by the end of the next school day. Before it was 5 days. So now it's by the end of the next school day. And I ask for your approval on Board Policy 5517.
Thank you, Gloria. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you so much, LaShawna. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And that passes. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Anderson. And now Dr. Sullivan, who I get to pick on one last time with this is your first set of votes. Nice to have you. Love the colorful outfit.
Thank you.
Over Halloween.
President Burke, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. I have one policy, policy number 5771, concerning search and seizure. It was brought before you last month, and I am requesting approval for tonight. It looks at search and seizure, student strip searches, and breath test instruments, along with deposition of student property.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Gloria. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we'll go to the vote. And the motion carries. Thank you so much, Dr. Sullivan. Congratulations. You've fully done the thing now. And with that, because Dr. Hanson knew that it would be 9:32 by the time we were done with action items, he did not give us any discussion items. And so we are, in fact, moving on to closing comments. Mr. Humphrey, would you like to start us off?
I would like to say you all failed. It is 9:32. We started 30 minutes earlier, and you still ran over. Good evening.
Ditto. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful to celebrate our students and our administrators and our teachers today. Thank you for the reports. Have a wonderful evening. Stay warm, and we'll see you next month.
Well, I have a long list of things. I'm only kidding. I want to say good night, safe travels home, and until we meet again.
One thing I wanted to say, and I know it slows it down a little bit, but I'm also on the Warren Township Development Association, and we recently opened up well, we didn't, but there's the Sunshine Market opened up on 30th Street, just west of Renaissance, in that housing area. As you're traveling along 30th going west, you can't miss it. It's on the left-hand side. I would recommend support that. They are there to help fight
Food insecurities.
food desert. Okay, is that what they call it nowadays? Food desert.
Securities.
Yeah, food. Yeah. They got produce. They got everything you want. We lost. What was it called? Walmart neighborhood, or right? Yeah. So that's the only produce store that we've got in the area. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. They had a opening ceremony about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's I think it's outstanding. Anyway, I'm out of here.
Oh, I forgot something really important. We never give kudos to our photographers, and I want them to stand. They just do such a good job. Stand up. They always working in the background. Come on. Woo! And thank you, Dennis, for a great article. I tell you, your magazine is going across Indianapolis, and, you know, I hear people saying how good it is. So, you know, this is the pride of the East Side, you know, so good job. Thank you so much.
Something about the safety fair? Go for it.
No, well, yeah, come to the safety fair. And the other thing I just thought about as Marcus was doing his last presentation, I saw David Bell's name up there a lot. Just keep him in your thoughts. This has got to be tough for him. That was a hard decision. And maybe we can get him back to be a coach or a helper or something, a layperson. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here this evening. We're still going to beat 9:40, so everyone have a good night. Take care.
Came up with an idea that didn't have.
I mean, it's not 10 o'clock.
That is true.